Hey, everybody. So I know everyone's been real antsy about this Abandoned Hope coming out. Unfortunately, the episode that Paul and I shot, there was a bit of an issue audio-wise. I've done the best I possibly could to correct it along with our audio guy, Matt, over there. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the issue, there was no way to really make it sound great. But we've got it where we think it's audible, and hopefully it's listenable. If not, sorry about that. It just is what it is. But hopefully you can still enjoy it, and we'll probably end up doing another one before the month is done, just because, you know, we know you've been waiting for it for a while, and unfortunately these audio issues exist, but yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully you can still enjoy it. Here you go. Hello, welcome to the long-awaited Abandoned Hope.
Paul is the cardinal, TJ's the pope, it's time to abandon hope.
Wow.
I just wrote you a theme song.
Thanks.
No problem.
I already had a pretty cool intro there, but no, I need this fucking cartoon bullshit, huh? Is that what I need? Is that what I need, Paul?
You don't like the image of you as the Pope of Despair?
The Pope of Despair?
From the pulpit to the masses?
Yeah. Okay, so
Good image.
I want the mass, the people in the mass. What are they called? The Easter worshipers?
Yeah, the herd.
The herd, yeah. The flock. Yeah, the herd. The flock, dude.
Okay, the flock.
The flock, the herd, the Congress, I don't care.
Sure.
The troop.
The gaggle?
The gaggle. Yeah. The gaggle of the gullible. I want them, when I raise my arms up, to be like, I want them all to just chant, use, woe is me.
Right.
I just want a whole big, like, behold the Pope of Despair, woe unto us all. Oh.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Somebody get on that. Will a talented writer and animator jump on that real quick?
Yes, and send us all the money.
And then send us the file for free.
Yeah, and the money.
We will use it.
Oh yeah, and
make the money.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Give it to us, then we can claim credit for it.
And give absolutely no credit to you.
We came up with the idea, and some dude, I don't know, spent hours animating it or whatever, but we came up with the idea.
Right.
Woo! All right, so we got a lot of hope to abandon today.
Yeah.
I figured, you know, why not just jump right into the fucking pig shit, you know?
Let's do.
You know, we could like ease in, but no, let's just jump right in. Are you familiar, Paul, with the Deplorable Choir?
I've heard of them, but I'm not super familiar now.
All right. Well, what they are is a MAGA hat-wearing, Trump-supporting country music act that make homemade videos like this from some nondescript room somewhere with plastered-on smiles and lyrics extolling Bob, dude. The big orange bastard himself.
Oh, Bob. That's what they're calling him now?
That's what I call him now.
Okay. Got it.
I wish that noise would stop.
Yeah, we have no idea. Tweedledee!
Tweedledoop.
Oh, well.
Anyway, I fucking hate it. Anyway, so here, let's listen. Well, let's play a sound that's much worse.
We're the Deplorable Choir. don't care if you're white. We don't care if you're black. We don't care if you're gay. We're all under attack. We don't care if you're rich. We don't care if you're poor. We just know what we're fighting for. Sing it. Real women vote for Trump. We don't need no liberal chump. Yeah, real women vote for Trump.
This hurts so bad.
I know, does it not? Wow. That is the worst fucking song ever.
It supplanted Hillary in the House.
Hillary in the White House.
That was the official worst song ever up until I heard this. Jesus, man. And there's a bunch of people that are into this, shaking their asses to it.
Ooh, yeah.
Listening it at the bars and shit.
10,000 thumbs up on this video. 10,000 thumbs up.
How many views?
182,689. Real women vote for Trump.
I mean, they're kind of talented singers and shit. It's kind of a waste of talent, honestly, to be like just political hacks. You know, they're not bad singers.
So I want to talk about the lyrics for a second.
Okay.
So the first verse ends with "We're all under attack."
Right.
I want to know from who.
Don't care if you're white. Don't care if you're black. Don't care if you're Asian. We're all under attack. However it went. Yeah. Who? Well, the liberals. But what if the liberals are black?
Oh, the liberals are under the ones attacking?
I don't know. That's what I assume. Or is it Mexicans?
Yeah, I'm not. It's not clear who's attacking us there.
Who's it? Are we still kind of in ISIS mode? So is it the terrorists?
I think it's like because Trump is so vague, songs about his shit have to be vague because the next lines they end with "We all know what we're fighting for," but it never specifies what that is.
Right. Because well, why would they need to? Because we all know.
We all know.
Well, we.
You know.
The ones wearing the red hats.
Yeah, the red hat people. We all know.
And
we can't.
You don't know all the better because we're probably fighting against you.
Yeah, probably.
We're fucked. They're coming. This is basically them telling us they're coming for us. Is how I'm taking it.
We're coming for you. Gonna put you in the camps.
Yeah, dude. The version of that, The Hunt movie that just got canceled.
Yeah, that sucks. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later, probably.
Oh yeah. Real women vote for Trump. We don't need no liberal chump. Yeah, real women vote for Trump. We don't care if you're girls. We don't care if you're dudes. We don't care if you're both. That's up to you. We don't care if you're men's or women's soccer teams. We're America. Just living the dream.
Well, that was empty and weird.
What a weird way to kind of wrap all that deep shit up. So I'm kind of agreeing with some of that. I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't care if you're both. That's up to you.
I think the message here is we don't give a fuck what you believe in as long as you vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Just fucking suck it up and vote for Trump. We don't care if you're gay. I mean, sure, the Trump administration cares if you're gay, but we personally don't.
Turned into a weird club banger there for a second, you know. Just living it. I don't get it. It's a weird turn for the song.
The Trump dream.
We were under attack 5 seconds ago.
But now we're living the dream.
Now we're all living the dream?
Yeah.
Well, shit.
The attack is over. The dream has begun. Maybe the attack was all a dream. I don't know.
Who knows?
I wish I knew what that fucking noise was. I think I might hunt it down after this segment, but we'll see.
Sing it. Real women vote for Trump. We don't need no liberal chump. Yeah, real women vote for Trump. Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Real women
Vote for Trump.
We don't need no liberal chump. Yeah, real women
vote for Trump.
We don't care if you're Eastwood. Don't care if you're Leo.
Oh.
Just grab a Corona.
Can I have a better beer?
Why? 'Cause real women vote
We can support their mission to rock the entertainment industry by donating to the Deplorable Choir at gmail.com,
I mean,
by the way.
if they want to rock the entertainment industry, they need to drop the Trump shit.
Liberal Trump, yeah, real women.
Vote for Trump!
Trump Train 2020.
Ugh, bleh, bleh,
What the fuck?
bleh, 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 bleh.
Wow, that was just like mind-numbing. What a way to start us off, TJ.
Yeah, let's move on to the next thing,
How are we
which
gonna think our way through the rest of these?
I don't know. But check it out. Actually, the next thing is also them. This is the pro-life song.
Oh, no, man. No, man. There's more?
You thought it was over?
Oh, yes.
It's not.
Oh.
Robbed a mama from her baby.
Wait, what?
Robbed a baby from the love of her mom.
Well, her mom didn't love her. That's why she fucking...
Up in that womb. Never ever got the chance to bloom.
Coat hanger done spilled its doom.
We're the Deplorable Choir. Fuck these bitches. Get off the stage. Boom. Oh, God. I hate this kind of like false. Because look at this, dude. Look at this fake solemnness that's going on in all three of these faces right now. Because nobody really cares about a little chunk of tissue.
They care, Paul. They care deep.
They don't.
They care real deep, boy.
The truth of the matter is that these chicks probably don't give a shit about much that's outside of their bubble, like 99% of the rest of us.
Not everyone's like you, Paul. Some people have deep
Look at
concerns.
the fake solemnness on this bitch on the right's face.
Yeah.
The little baby never was. Shut up. You ain't got nothing in your life to worry about with that. Ugh, gross.
It's the same old song, they say it's right, not wrong. But this was my life too.
I like how it's from the perspective of the fetus, too.
Little fingers that won't hold your
It
hand.
is gross.
Two little toes that'll never touch
sand.
Two little ears that will hear you sing. Your voice was so
Gross. This is so weird, man. If you just somebody visualized this. It's like a tiny little grody little fetus reaching at you and shit.
With its little guitar inside the womb while the forceps are coming for it.
Why don't you guys write a song about how willing you are to open your homes to all these babies that are not going to be aborted? Why don't you make that the focus? Come on into my life, little problem. It's okay that your mom was alcoholic. I'll still love you. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, right.
The real fucking love. Look at this fake solemn on the right. It's killing me. Her face.
sweet to me. Don't tell me that love wins when this is how it ends for me. Devil laughs and the angels cry.
The devil laughed and the angels cried.
Oh my god. This is actually subversively brilliant. I just want to see this animated. I want to see the little fetus reaching out of the mom's womb to hold the mom's hand. I want to see Satan literally fucking having a belly laugh and the angels all
Another abortion. Wouldn't he be over it by now? Like, wouldn't the joke have gotten old, you know?
He just every time.
Every single time you get
Every
abortion.
second of every day is abortion.
Satan laughs.
He's like, can't do anything but laugh. And the angels are just weeping constantly.
In that case, then aren't these women getting abortions heroes for keeping the devil in stitches? Just too preoccupied with laughter to even
you, ladies.
work his dark magic on the world.
Your fake solemnness really keeps the devil in check.
Oh.
Nice fucking AC controls behind you, by the way, too. Great framing on this.
Yeah, dude.
When I first got my wings up, did I have the
Okay, can you
right
pause
to?
it for a second?
Yes.
So this one actually tells me a whole lot. There's a problem going on with this group that's going to have to be solved.
Yes.
I have the curse of perfect pitch, and somebody is off key. And it's not the main chick that's up in the middle actually playing the guitar and leading all these songs. One of these hangers-on is a booger. I don't know which one it is yet, but somebody's not towing the line here, and that's why they're not blowing up.
That's why?
They need to become a duet or some shit, because one of these chicks back here can't sing. Let's just hear it. Listen.
You laugh 'cause you didn't hear me cry, and I wish you only knew that I was made to love you. I hope someday we'll
Digging for something to talk about other than this fucking horrible song. This tragic song. So weird and creepy.
I hope someday when you form life again. Again.
That you'll choose strength and be a strong woman.
Oh,
man.
a strong. Okay, yeah. So the guilt trip is super fucking strong here. Okay. Yeah, a woman that goes and gets an abortion after she was raped is not choosing strength because she doesn't want to raise her rape baby. You bunch of bitches. How many fucking little orphaned kids, or how many women have you met?
It takes real strength to pollute the planet with yet another unwanted human being.
Yeah.
Because we don't have enough, you guys. One thing, when I look around the world, I'm like, you know what the fucking problem is here? Not enough people.
Yeah.
If only there were just a few billion more.
If there wasn't such a dearth of people, all our problems would be solved.
We don't have enough minds working on these problems. That's what's going on. So if just one more, all we need is just one unwanted crack baby or something.
It's a fucking nightmare.
To solve the issues of the world.
Yeah. How many of those are these ladies taking in, by the way?
Yeah.
How many abortion clinics are you camping out in front of, promising women, I will raise your baby, bring it to term?
I just want to know, when does the logic end,
It doesn't, because they can't. If every fucking Christian in the world opened their homes to an abortion baby.
They don't even want to let Mexicans in. Their whole thing is they want to build a wall.
I know.
They don't even want their neighbors to the fucking south coming to their country.
They literally don't give a fuck.
But they're
The child.
No, they don't.
After it comes out of the puss.
They never have.
In the world.
It's not even an original observation at this point, but it's so true.
C'est la vie.
Why don't they give a shit if they care so much about the damn baby? How come they don't give a shit about any living person that's an adult walking around on this goddamn planet?
They don't. You know what this is? This is all wrapped up in the ego. This is all because these chicks want to sit around and feel solemn and involved about something. And so they found something that they were told at their church, a great authority figure in their lives, was a super important thing, and they latched onto it. They tied their egos to it, and now they're all sitting around pretending to care about these children when there's children literally waiting for people like you. Quit writing music and go get to the adoption clinic if you think like that. Or shut the fuck up.
Hey, maybe they all do. Maybe they all have, Maybe they've all done that already, Paul. You ever think of that?
Yeah, maybe they have.
You ever think of that, Paul?
Total fucking...
You're a hypocrite once again.
You know what, dude? If they have, they could make room for another, couldn't they?
One more. Always room for one more.
The time it took
the spirit of Christian charity.
Face for this video to make sure it was extra solemn. Don't you think you could have went and adopted another kid?
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. Stop abortion. Really go fight it.
The kind that's brave and raises her baby. Don't take from them.
You think I'm not going to let you off the hook on this fucking song. It's going to keep going, Paul.
I keep reading.
I know. No. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to coax me into a soft landing so you don't have to see the rest. But we're watching this. This is what happens, Paul. It's almost over, Paul.
Little tiny, proto people with wings flying around in heaven?
Yeah.
Is that one of the first things you do, is you have to fan away a cloud of little abortion babies?
I thought you weren't even allowed into heaven until you passed the big test of life anyway, so.
Yeah, this is a big gray area here, isn't it?
Yeah. But no, I guess not for these chicks.
You laugh 'cause you didn't hear me cry, and I
Okay, that's over. You don't have to worry about that anymore.
No more fucking MAGA choir? Or is there another one, you piece of shit?
What?
You are... Okay.
1, 2.
Oh no, I'm gonna break you with this shit. Don't you worry.
News, hot off the press. Tell me who the heck is really buying this from Uptax and MAGA hats. Cohen, Kavanaugh, and cow flatulence.
Cow flatulence. What you think about that?
Scientifically illiterate.
Oh
man, dude, if you wanted to instill a hatred in me for these people,
I'm getting sick of all the shit they spew. Lord, won't you save us from their fake news? Another day, another story, and another scam. Trying to stop all the winning.
Oh, you think this is the end, do you? You think this is the end, huh?
you motherfucker, TJ.
They'd rather see Trump.
All right, it's not. All right, I'll skip to the actual end. This is the Vote Republican song, which I think is their most popular one.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that, but it's got a lot of views. 685,318 views, 31,000 thumbs up, 2.6 thousand thumbs down. It's called Vote Republican.
Yeah, buddy.
If you like money and a job, you have big dreams of a border wall, wanna keep.
Okay, so let's see what those apply to me. Money, yeah, I'm down with the money. Job, a little spotty on that.
Depends on the job, doesn't it?
You know, I mean, if it's like,
If your job was like...
if my job is making fun of you, then yes. If my job is like, you gotta like build shit at a factory, I'm out. I'm good.
Yeah. I'm on the same page with that.
And then what was the last thing? Want to build a border wall? No, I don't really want that.
Yeah, really?
I'm not down with it. Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like there's more productive uses of that money. So yeah.
Easily,
Yeah, like, I don't really feel like, even if I was really deeply concerned about immigration, and I'm like, I don't want a bunch of illegal immigrants coming into this country, if that was like a huge issue for me, I'd still probably want something better than a fucking wall. I just say, like, no, just increase security at the border and have drones patrolling it, invest in new technology, like laser grids, whatever the fuck. Something better than, like, we built a fucking wall. I mean, it's like caveman thinking, so I'm, you know, whatever. Fuck that.
The wall just does suck from that level, too.
Right. I mean, like, even if you're down with what the wall represents, and you're super concerned about illegal immigrants, it's just like a dumb idea. There's got to be a better fucking solution than that.
Better way.
Yeah. And the wall sucks. So I'm not, whatever. Dig under it, pole vault over it. I don't know what the fuck you do.
I'm tired of looking like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Casper the Friendly Ghost.
There we go.
Your doctor and keep your gun. By God, vote Republican.
I mean, like, if you're going to say gun and rhyme it with Republican, then bend Republican, be like Republican.
Right.
You know, you don't, if you're going to try to rhyme it with gun, at least force the rhyme a little.
Why not?
Yeah. You got to bend the word a little bit. Don't say gun and then Republican.
You got to hold them by the hand, TJ.
Hold them by the hand. That's not how you say Republican.
If you like the sound of the draining swamp, your freedom's God in the Constitution.
How exactly has the swamp been drained?
Yeah, when?
Like, by what metric has there been any swamp draining?
I didn't realize that draining the swamp was just like continuing the status quo of stalking powerful positions with big fucking...
Like billionaires and lobbyists and shit. So, like, how's that any different than literally any other administration?
Whatever.
Like, he hasn't done anything different. In fact, his administration's been one of the shittiest ever. Even by his own fucking logic, because he's constantly firing people. Like, there's been so much turnaround in that administration.
Well,
you can't possibly say that that's a fucking...
It's only bad in other people's companies and administrations.
Oh, okay.
For Trump, it's just he has to get rid of the bad.
Yeah.
Or the bad get the
That, oh, that's maybe he's draining the swamp that way. First, you employ the swamp.
Right.
Then you get rid of them and replace them with more swamp.
So term 2.
He never told you what he was gonna. Yeah, he never told you what he was gonna do. He never told you what he was gonna replace the swamp with.
Right.
He drains the swamp and then replaces it with new swamp.
Yeah.
So there you go. Makes sense. I get it now.
Wanna keep America great again. By God, for Republican. You like shit on the streets of San Francisco. Think Democrats have done one hell of a job. You like Nancy defending MS-13.
Let's be honest here. No one likes Nancy Pelosi.
And let's be honest here too, San Francisco, even with shit running in the streets, is still probably a way better city than anywhere near where these chicks live.
Yeah, it's still better than Rumblefuck or whatever the hell.
Dude, even if there's a homeless problem in San Francisco and there's literal turds in the street sometimes, I guarantee you, I've been there.
Yeah, like it's San Francisco. Like, hey man, what you want to do tonight? We check out this club. We go here. We go to this. Do this. Blah 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 blah.
Fucking amazing area to live.
What in Bumble? If you're in Bumblefuck, like, what we gonna do tonight? I don't know. We could go walk around to Walmart.
Yeah, or we could hit up Susie Q's diner before she closes up at 8:30.
Susie Q.
In a magazine rounding up her moms. If you like the crime in Chicago and Schumer's big face.
Burst your bubble, Chicago, way better place than anywhere near where you're from, guaranteed. Like, come on, dude. Do you really think that Chicago is a place where your stupid little blonde ass would land and get shot? You'd have a fucking ball in Chicago, dude. Some swarthy Italian dude would sweep you off his feet, put you in his Enzo, take you to a fucking club like you've never seen, show you a fucking real Broadway-style show, take you to the top of one of the tallest buildings in the world, and fuck you right there. You remember it forever. Be like, God damn, remember that one time I left the farm and got fucked on top of Sears Tower? Jesus Christ. Didn't know I'd peak so early. You dream of a place like Chicago, you bumpkin.
Tears. Then here's a ticket from me. Pick any country and get the hell out of here. But
I have another option though.
What?
I mean,
Change it from within?
yeah, I mean, like, you know, you can, like, America today isn't like America was in 1776. There's been a lot of changes that have happened. So maybe we could continue that trend, that tradition, if you will, of constant evolution and change it into something better than what it is now, instead of just saying, good enough, damn it. Don't love it, leave it.
Yeah, I hope we stagnate forever.
I hope everything stays the same.
What a ridiculous sentiment.
if you like money and a job,
Yeah, repeat that.
have big dreams of
Say it again.
If you like money and a good job.
the border wall, wanna keep your doctor and keep your gun. By God, for Republic.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to put your finger on the trigger unless you intend to shoot it. But yeah, maybe, I'm sure they probably were.
I mean,
I don't know.
you shouldn't be handling guns.
If you like the sound of a draining swamp, your freedom's God in the Constitution. Wanna keep America great again. By God, for Republican. You like paying for illegals, but for those that serve you.
Why? What do you mean before? What do you mean before, dude?
What? That freeze frame, I was not ready, man. I've been spending too much time like looking at these loathsome singers, and now this dude just came out of nowhere. Holy fuck, he's high as a kite.
He looks it. What do you mean before, though?
What did you guys do for this guy, by the way, other than put your arm around him and use him as a prop?
It's probably one of their granddads or
Yeah,
some shit.
Maybe.
But what do they mean? Like, I wasn't aware of any legislation in America where it's like the help illegal immigrants before we help veterans and old, like veterans and old people get the most help in this society out of anybody.
Right.
Bar none by far.
By a wide margin.
Right. They're the only people in this country for whom some measure of like socialism and social welfare actually exists on any real tangible level. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about there. There's no like program of like, free medicine for illegals or whatever the fuck. That doesn't exist.
No.
We don't even American citizens don't get that. So what are you talking about?
Well, what they're talking about is the fact that here's what happens. If a person who doesn't have legal status in this country gets sick here and gets sick to the point where they're dying, they go to the hospital.
Yeah.
They have no money.
Which you do in any country.
They have no social security number.
Right.
The hospital, there's an onus on doctors, above all, do no harm. If somebody comes in and they're dying, the doctor has to save them.
Right.
You can't, it's
Yeah.
what happens. And nobody's there to pay.
But I mean,
That's what they're pissed about.
That could happen with an American homeless person or
It happens
anybody.
constantly with people that are Americans. People that are American go to the hospital every fucking day and have absolutely no money to pay for any of the bills that they incur. They go there because they have to preserve their lives. And that's what they're arguing against here.
Right.
A system of, pay to live.
It sounds very American.
You ain't got insurance, get the fuck out of the hospital, dude, with a gaping bullet wound to the neck.
Go die in the streets, sissy.
Yeah, go die, woman giving birth that can't afford the care, by the way. This is a little at odds with one of your other songs, ladies, although you being Trump fans, I know you don't care about that. Having completely oppositional positions that totally refute one another is just fucking second nature to people like you.
You know what babies cry, but you still disguise murder as a right to choose.
Well, I went right to it just there.
Go back.
So it wasn't even like...
Pull it back. Look how she's manhandling this kid for a prop.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Divide us by identity, just to create fear.
Divide us by identity to create fear? What is this song doing?
Yeah, what is this about? What's the fact that every time somebody sees you, you're wearing that hat doing?
Yeah, I mean, aren't you how are you not dividing people by identity?
Yeah, I'll tell you what,
You're this entire song is basically this political party is good and the other one's evil and we're the perfect moral bastions of the world and everyone else is shit and we're great.
But they want to divide us.
Unlike those divisive bastards over there that are evil.
It's that Joseph Goebbels thing. Accuse your enemy of everything that you're guilty of. It's the same shit here.
Then here's a ticket from me. Pick any country and get the hell out of here.
Wait a minute. So are you offering to pay for my plane ticket? I mean, all right, well,
seriously.
We can negotiate. Look, if you're willing to pay for my plane ticket and my citizenship and my moving expenses.
Right.
I mean, I consider it.
I mean, yeah, because I would too. But if the idea of the whole bravado here and the look on your faces trying to look like action heroes is that the three of yous is gonna come kick me out of here, you better come up with a different plan. I'm not no Billy Badass, but you prawns better come up with a different plan. It ain't going down like that. So get the hell out of here means you're willing to open up your pocketbook and pay for my ass to go to Denmark or some shit and just eat mushrooms for the rest of my life? Fucking A, let's do it.
Amen.
But if you like money,
Yeah, I love it. Money's great.
Oh my god, this is just fucking painful. I can't believe people watch this for entertainment.
Yeah. Another thing that doesn't make any sense to me is if you like money, you should vote for Trump. Isn't the guy trying to raise the minimum wage Bernie Sanders?
Well, several of the Democratic.
Right. They've all endorsed a higher minimum wage, which is going to, raise wages for a lot of people in this country.
In a low-paying job, maybe that just didn't fit.
Yeah.
In the scheme.
If you like money, vote for them to give you a raise. Bernie Sanders gonna change your ways. I don't know.
If you like just under enough to make ends meet, working all day till you fucking beat.
Vote for Trump.
Can't afford to put shoes on your feet. Vote for Donald Trump.
Look at that poor dog in a cage there, too.
Seriously. got their dog all fucking like. I'm surprised that baby's not off in there.
Not in the cage with the dog.
Fucking, damn, dude.
Next cage over, probably. That was all. I'm gonna go ahead and I hate to have to splice shit, but I need to fucking track down what this stupid fucking sound is that keeps interrupting.
Okay. Well.
Because it's annoying the shit out of me. But I'm gonna stop recording and we'll see. Hopefully we sorted that out. Oh, never mind. I guess not.
No.
Damn. No, it might start again. I don't know.
I
think we figured it out, but who knows. So anyway, 8 seemingly innocent things we need to stop saying to women from Cracked.com, which, by the way, remember when Cracked.com used to be a comedic publication?
Yeah.
I do. Those are weird times.
They have like weird comics and memes and funny stories about people shitting their pants around the globe and
Nope.
that type of stuff.
Now here's the new language police release to
I
you.
used to have like racy shit too, not like porn, but it would be like, 9 weird sex toys that you can't believe exist,
Yeah. I mean, they might still have that too. I don't know, but anyway.
It's weird to see them dipping their toe into
Oh, they've done more than dip their toe.
justice here.
They were one of the first ones I saw kind of give into that social justice shit.
So does that mean men?
I guess.
So our genders,
All right, well, here, let's
are totally being assumed here at the start.
If a woman has ever become annoyed by some seemingly innocuous thing you've said, there's probably a reason for it, and that reason isn't women are crazy, blah, 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 blah. So I guess it's to men. And this picture kind of, come on, baby, that's not what I meant,
Listen, honey, I'm trying to be open-minded to you right now.
Oh, why you give him that voice, huh? Huh?
You started out with an even worse one. You made him a 70s pimp. Come on, baby. You know what it is, girl. You know my main squeeze. You know you're the hottest piece of pussy out there in the club. I ain't looking nowhere else, girl. That was you.
I don't think so. I think that was you.
Well, that was do we do a racism?
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry.
I don't think so, man.
I always apologize when I accidentally do a racism.
Sorry, y'all.
I apologize to anyone that was offended by my doing a racism.
You should have said you have a boyfriend/girlfriend. So basically, what you think you're saying, so they understand your intention, but they're also going to tell you what it really means or how it actually comes across. So what you think you're saying is, whoa, I'm embarrassed after hitting on you now. I'd have never intentionally disrespected your relationship that way. Please don't think I was asking you to cheat or betray your partner. How it actually comes across. I didn't realize someone else had claimed you, which is literally the only way you get out of this.
Oh my God, no. You know what comes across that way? You saying that.
I know.
In response to her saying, I've got a boyfriend/girlfriend.
Oh, this is when you tell her, like, you should have said that you had, a girlfriend or a boyfriend.
I smell the stink of another man on you. I didn't know you were already claimed property. That's how that comes off.
So here's another thing you're not supposed to say. You're not like other girls. Which, once again, I think most bitches would eat that up. But what do I know? I'm just a neckbeard. So here's what you think you're saying. Oh my goodness me, you are such a delight. I've never met anyone as wonderful and joyous as you. I must tell you immediately how wondrous and joyous I find you, but in a way that seems super casual and doesn't make me look like a loser for feeling all that wonder and joy.
Wow.
How it actually comes across. I think I can make you feel good by putting all other girls down.
Okay.
Yeah. Shit on the whole sisterhood, Paul. The gynocracy must fall.
So, at times, if I've expressed this type of sentiment to somebody, I'm not talking about necessarily all other girls planet-wide. I'm talking about ones that I've known. So if I say you're not like other girls that I've known, that's what I mean. I don't understand.
No, Paul. What you're actually saying, or what you know what's coming across, Paul? Normally, I don't even respect bitches, and I hate the female gender, as a whole. But you know what? You all right. You almost a person to me and shit, Like, I almost consider you almost as good as a man, almost.
Yeah, right up there. just underneath a man, which is where I want you to be, baby.
Oh, yeah. That's what you really saying.
Yeah.
Not trying to make her feel special or nothing. You just...
No, not trying to be sweet.
I love a girl who can eat. Eat ass? What are you talking about?
Yeah, this all depends on the meal.
There's a context going on.
Yeah.
So what you think you're saying? I'm so glad you ate that huge portion of mac and cheese too, because now I feel like less of a pig.
Okay.
You know, I don't have any self-consciousness about that kind of shit. I don't care if someone sees me eating a giant bucket of fucking mac and cheese. I'll eat the fucking... what's that fucking guy that sells the survival bucket that when you're done eating it, you can shit in it?
Oh, yeah, Jim Baker.
Yeah. Jim Baker's food/shit bucket of mac and cheese. And then you can rinse out the shit and put the mac and cheese back. So how it actually comes across. Wow, you're hot and slim and you eat carbs. This is wizardry.
What if you're not hot and slim?
Yeah, I mean,
What
like...
about fat women? Are they excluded from this whole fucking list now? Way to go, Cracked.
Yeah, what the hell? Nothing.
Fucking viewer.
You've lost me.
Yeah.
I'm offended. Yeah, blank always goes for the crazy girls.
I don't even know what this is supposed
So I guess like when you're talking to her about someone else and you're like
to be. Putting some other dude.
yeah, like you're like, yeah, you know, like if I, you know, I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, yeah, Paul loves them crazy bitches or whatever the fuck. You shouldn't say that to your fucking, to a woman, I guess.
Right.
Because here's what you think you're saying is Johnny always goes for these mad girls he can't keep up with. He must love drama. Mocking Johnny's immaturity is a good way for us to bond. Yay, this is top quality banter. But how it actually comes across, Johnny is obviously not the problem here. It's every single woman he's ever been with, because so many women are emotional and high-strung and crazy. Am I right?
What?
The problem is, for it to come across like that, the woman you're talking to would have to be crazy and high-strung. So...
And I hate to be that guy.
You're gonna be.
There are quite a few women out there, in my experience, that are emotional or high-strung or a little bit crazy. Like, to deny the existence of that, another huge portion of your readership just walked away now. So fat bitches and crazy bitches need not apply when you're reading this list.
But crazy bitches don't know they're crazy. So wow, you're so feisty.
Feisty?
Don't call them feisty. So what you think you're... Well, here's what you think you're saying, Paul. You think you're saying, oh, wow, you're so opinionated and passionate. I love how you stand up for what you believe in. But what they hear is, oh, my Lord, it's a woman with an opinion. How adorable. Oh, it's patronizing. Feisty is patronizing is the problem.
Man, I hate this fucking time that we live in, dude. This sucks.
You know what you're sounding like, Paul? You're sounding mighty feisty right now.
Oh, I'm offended.
Do you feel patronized?
I feel totally patronized.
Is your husband/boyfriend on babysitting duty today? Then
What even? Whoa.
I would never even.
I would never be in a social situation where I'd have to ask that question.
It's so okay. So what you think you're saying? It's so lovely to see you. I understand it can be hard to get out when you've had a child, but I am wondering where the child is, and I'm trying to make conversation about said child, even though I hate children. How it actually comes across. Wow, how brave of your husband to look after your child for one night. He must be quite the guy. I did not notice or care about the fact that you may split parenting duties, as I think the woman should be the main caregiver for this child, because I am in fact a caveman.
Man, this is somebody with deep psychological issues working them out in the form of a list of shit on the internet.
I'm so scared. This is why you can't say anything anymore.
Right.
Because
so
you say something.
He's inferred from such a tiny, innocuous sentence.
I'm going to take a sip of this drink. What, you saying I'm queer? It's like, what the fuck? What? I didn't do nothing. Huh?
That whole fucking paragraph came out of your ex is on babysitting duty then?
Yeah.
That's, what if I want to know? Like, what if I'm the type of dude that would date somebody that already has a kid? And
a boyfriend, I guess.
Yeah. And a boyfriend, I guess. But set it aside for a second. What if I just want to find out if I can take you out tonight, or if we're going to have like a screaming ball of need with us, and I need not apply at a normal restaurant. We're going to the Chuck E. Cheese again, you know? How do I ask that and not offend your fucking sensibilities to the tune of a giant paragraph?
All right, so here's the next one. Wow, you look so great without makeup. You don't need it. Don't even need it. What you think you're saying. You are a natural beauty, and I love the way you look, and gazing into your face is an unimaginable high. How it comes across. I cannot stand those deceptive scorpion women who trick us with their makeup sorcery. You have to have a pretty low opinion of the fucking guy that's talking to you at that point to read it that way. You'd have, like, I'm sorry, if you hear you look great without makeup on and you hear women are bitches, then you're fucking stupid or crazy or both. Sorry.
Not a tenet of first and second wave feminism that like makeup was part of the oppressive regime of man forcing women to cake this unnatural thing on their bodies. So in those times, it was great for a guy to say, wow, you're beautiful, you don't even need the makeup. But now if you say that, you're
evil.
It's like you're undermining their right to wear it, to wear the makeup or something.
No, what you're doing is you're insulting women. You're basically insulting women who you feel are deceptive for wearing makeup because it's false advertising, because they don't actually look as attractive as they're portraying themselves to be. Yeah.
I don't understand. I literally am fucking dumbfounded by that. How would you infer that from the statement like, wow, you don't even need makeup. You're just beautiful, just the way you are. I love your face. If a dude said that to you, you would infer that he's talking about every other woman?
Yes.
Like, what is your fucking hang-up? Why can't he talk about you? Why is everything he says to you automatically deflect to every other pussy walking around on the planet?
Women are a hive organism.
Is this not a psychological problem of whoever wrote this article?
I guess so. I don't know. That's up to you to decide, I suppose. This is number one, by the way. Stay-at-home mom. She's not doing much for the movement, is she? What? What movement? The bowel movement?
Yeah, dude. That's the only movement you're likely to hear me talk about.
What they think you're saying. Whoop, whoop, feminism. I am a Beyonce fan and identify with my sisters. I think women should vote and work and be independent and fierce queens.
Fierce queens?
Fierce queens. Here's how it actually comes across, though. What you're basically saying is feminism is about women having jobs and nothing more. Women who look after their children and don't go to work are lazy gold diggers who set the feminist movement back 50 years. If a woman bakes me a pie, I will fling it out of her hands and give her a white pantsuit instead.
What? Dude, lady, I gotta tell you something, man. I would never even think a thought about a pantsuit, much less infer something about a pantsuit with something else I'm saying. Can you just take me at my word? Isn't that kind of what you're asking for? Is that equal level? If a woman says this is the way I feel, you accept it? Is it a two-way street anymore? Like, do I have to be talking about my deep-seated feelings about every woman with every fucking thing that I say to you?
Yes.
Not that I would ever say anything about the movement and a stay-at-home mom. I could give a fuck less. So who is this dude?
Well, you know what? The fact that you wouldn't say that, Paul, I guess that means you don't even need to pay attention to this, right?
I guess not.
Yeah, so it's over for us.
Nice.
Speaking of over, end of the affair. Why it's time to cancel Quentin Tarantino.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of this.
Roy Chaco, you fucking hack. You hack with a hack's name.
Hacko.
Right in your fucking name, you piece of fucking dog shit. Nothing you ever produce in your entire tiny little internet writing career will ever even approach the worst thing that Tarantino has made.
Whatever the merits of his new film, Tarantino's films have reveled in extreme violence against female characters. Yeah, you know, and meanwhile, the male characters, you see, like, they're just having a grand old time. Can you even think of a man that ever got hurt in a Tarantino movie? I can't.
Nah, never once. Never a dude that just gets his head blindly, accidentally blown off in the backseat of a car.
I mean, wasn't there literally a scene in Kill Bill where, she kills like fucking 50 dudes or some shit. The crazy 88.
I mean, I don't mean to be on the nose.
They said there weren't actually 88 of them, but
wasn't there a scene in Kill Bill where she kills Bill?
Yeah, there was actually.
Dude,
there was a dude. There was this dude named Bill, and she killed him. Yeah.
Whatever she calls it, the 5-finger death punch or whatever it is, and he fucking just his heart.
5-point palm exploding heart technique. It was all like. There's apparently a sequence of fucking hits you can make that you take 3. After you get hit like that, you take 3 steps. Your heart explodes and you die.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, I ranted so hard I knocked my soda over, so I gotta go get a fucking. Hold on.
Go get you a napkin. When news broke early last year that Quentin Tarantino had cajoled Uma Thurman into driving an unsafe car during the filming of Kill Bill, which resulted in a crash, the director called it the biggest regret of his life. Soon after, reports came out that he had spat on Thurman during filming and had choked her in one scene, as well as strangling Diane Kruger in a scene in Inglourious Basterds. The question now is it time to cancel Quentin Tarantino? His latest film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, has provoked considerable unease as it takes on the gruesome subject of the murder of Sharon Tate, among others, by the Manson family in 1969. His interest in savage violence against women is, if we look back, a common thread in almost all of his films. You know, if there was... I mean, first of all... Even if that were true, which it's not, but even if that were true, and there was this pattern of explicitly violence against women throughout Tarantino's body of work, that still would not be a reason to cancel him or anything. Because he's an artist. He is a successful one. He's actually considered among the best at what he does. So he would still have the right and ability to express himself however he saw fit, including depicting violence against women. If that was the main thrust of his work, was violence against women, he'd still be totally in the right to do that, and anybody who wanted to watch that should be free to do so.
Right, and they're talking
There's no fucking... But the problem is, that's not what his work is about. There's violence towards men. There's violence towards probably animals a lot of the time.
I mean, look at Kill Bill. Once again, as a franchise, it's an inversion of what you're talking about here. It's a violent woman doing violence to women and men indiscriminately. That's what so if you wanted to talk about the basis of his films, it's all over the place. Yeah, women get caught in the crossfire in his films. So do men.
I mean, if anything, he writes women more as the equals to the characters. They're not just damsels in distress. They're killers, too.
Right, and they're talking about women as damsels. She survives that shit.
Right.
She comes out of that shit and goes on to live her life. She goes on. She moves on with her, life after that shit. How's that not a portrayal of a strong woman? How's Uma Thurman's character in fucking Pulp Fiction not a portrayal of a strong woman?
All right, well, here, let's listen to this. In Tarantino's debut directorial feature, Reservoir Dogs, the only female characters in the credits are Shot Woman and Shocked Woman. Pulp Fiction, his second film, features female characters more prominently, but a trend of reveling in the abuse of women began to emerge. One of Pulp Fiction's most famous scenes involves Uma Thurman's character getting stabbed in the heart with a shot of adrenaline to resuscitate her after a drug overdose.
Is that really one of its most famous scenes?
I feel like every scene in that movie is pretty famous because it's just such a good movie. But if I was to do like top 10 best scenes in the fucking movie,
one of them?
I don't know. I don't think so. But maybe. If it is, it's on the lower end of the list.
I think the first part of the date is way better than the way it ends in terms of like where I rank the scenes.
Yeah. There's a few. One of the things I really like about that scene is someone asked for like a black pen or something, but they bring a red pen. Yeah. I always thought that was cool.
Yeah.
That it didn't, because a lot of movies made by lesser people, someone would just conveniently had exactly what they were asking for.
Detail, but it's really because it's part of the shot,
and it kind of just makes it real. So I don't know. There's a lot of cool tension in that scene, and all the scenes in the movie are good. But that's it's probably not one of the more iconic scenes, and it's preposterous to just say that because something bad befalls Uma Thurman's character in the movie, that establishes some pattern of abuse against female characters. I mean, Vince gets fucking shot in that movie. Like Uma Thurman's character at least survives. You know?
Yeah.
A guy gets raped in the ass by crazy fucking pawn shop hillbilly guys. You know, a lot of gruesome shit happens in that fucking movie. And a lot of it happens to men. Most of it happens to men. So why is it that he can show endless fucking violence and depravity being done against men and you guys don't make a peep? But a woman gets stabbed in the heart to resuscitate her, and that's like, oh my God, abuse. It's disgusting. Can you even believe he showed that? Can you believe that Tarantino says that a bad thing could happen to a female character? Can you believe that?
Right.
She should be in a protective bubble of fucking, oh, she's safe, don't worry. Like, you're the ones trying to turn her into a fucking damsel. The Kill Bill films were a cinematic orgy of on-screen violence, most of it directed at Thurman. I think most of it directed by Thurman,
yes,
actually.
She literally carves her way through 80 people in a scene.
Yes. Her character is severely beaten throughout and buried alive. I mean, like, what the fuck? Is a hero in a movie supposed to just encounter no fucking resistance on her quest for revenge?
Dude, the whole Lonely Grave of Paula Schultz story is such a fucking testament to strong female, you know, like
right.
Literally hog-tied by a dude that's bigger than her, shot in the chest with rock salt and shit. And she digs her way out of her own fucking grave and kills him.
Well, actually, she doesn't kill him. He's killed by Ellie,
yeah,
but she then kills Ellie, so whatever. But she fucking digs her. She claws her way out and fucking, you know, remembers her training and all that. I mean, like, it's so stupid.
It's ridiculous.
Like, you're just, I mean, like, this only makes sense if you haven't seen these films and they're just being described to you out of context.
This only makes sense if you go in with a total agenda and you want to read one angle and you just want to see violence against a female character and that's all you want to see in the movie. Yeah, you're probably going to find it. In pretty much every Tarantino film, you're going to find it. If that's all you're looking for and that's all you care about, then yes.
Pretty silly.
If you want to take an actual look at what he makes, everybody's on the chopping block in a Tarantino film.
Well, good job.
Rather indiscriminate.
Absolutely.
In fact, I would hazard a guess that far more men are dismembered, fucked up, shot, and
easily
in Tarantino films than women.
Oh my God, yes.
So
yeah, absolutely. Roy Hacko, your article sucks dick.
Yeah, you're a hack. Fuck you.
John Delaney. All right, I don't know how this is going to be.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's John Delaney.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
The Contenders, that's a...
Welcome back to Belching Rule. We're about 6...
Okay, this is John Delaney on MSNBC, so this is like double dose of fucking dog shit.
How much time do they have to fill over at MSNBC to give Delaney some time?
6 hours out from the second Democratic presidential debate, and one 2020 candidate who will be on that stage is former Congressman from Maryland, John Delaney. He joins me now, live from Detroit.
Oh, welcome to my nightmare. Oh, man. Dude, he's so vacant. You see that fucking picture of him going down that fucking slide?
Oh, yeah.
Where he just has this, like, stoic look of not even remotely having fun or even any reaction to what's going on.
Yeah, it's so strange.
He is a weird, weird fuck.
Like he's an android or something.
Congressman, you are in the final few hours, so let's talk strategy. You are currently polling in the single digits across the board. In the last debate, you got a lot of points in there. They even...
What?
What?
Who prepped you? Fire them.
Criticized you for interrupting, but you didn't break through in the polling numbers. What are you going to do tonight?
Well, listen, Stephanie, it's a long race, and...
See that? Did you see that? How that smile changed when that came through his earpiece?
You didn't really move the polling numbers at all.
Tonight, I plan on making it clear to the voters that there's a real contrast. There's a bunch of people running on impossible...
Yeah, there is a real contrast. Here are real candidates, and then there's me.
The lady bot.
Dude, I don't know what the fuck this guy is on, what he's smoking, to think that this is a winning strategy for anybody in 2020.
I don't know either.
I mean, he's got to be the worst.
You know, the sad thing is he isn't. But I mean, it's, in terms of who I would vote for, I'd vote for everybody else that's come up on that stage before I'd vote for Delaney. So maybe he is the worst.
Like if someone put a gun to your head and like literally is like, you must vote or die.
Or John Delaney, I'd be like, Marianne, come on, vote.
Come on, Marianne.
The world would too.
Yeah.
You'd get a President Marianne Williamson in that fucking.
Oh, absolutely. Because at least she's not a fucking... I don't even know what to call him.
I mean...
He's just a Delaney. That's all he is.
She's just a step kookier, you know, than Trump.
Yeah.
Maybe I will vote for Marianne Williamson now that I think about it. Maybe we need to kook it up more.
Kook it up.
Yeah.
The kookening.
Possible promises, and that's going to get Donald Trump reelected. And then there's folks like myself who are running on real solutions, and that's how we win the election. So that, I think, is the big...
Yeah, we win the election by running you. That's for sure. A guy who... has A, he was the first to fucking campaign. B, has spent a pretty decent chunk of his vast personal fortune on his campaign, and has had plenty of speaking time, at least in the most recent debate.
Oh yeah, the recent debate, he was over budget.
Oh my God. And all of that you've done all of that, and you haven't moved the needle even a smidgen.
No.
No one has looked at the product called Delaney and said, I'm buying.
Nope.
Nobody. Even your own staff has been like, drop the fuck out so we can go work for a better campaign. And you're still just like, no, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna do it. This is how we win. No one is gonna take advice on how to win from you. I mean, like, look, I hate to go down this rabbit hole too, but I mean, just like take a look at you for a second. Like, no one looks at that face and says that's the fucking president.
No. He looks like Howard the Duck or some shit. It's just so weird. He's cartoonish. I mean, the comparison to Homer Simpson is pretty on the nose, but I mean, he's just cartoonish in appearance. It's cartoonish in what he thinks people want him to project in terms of personal charisma. That, like, he thinks that big ass fucking grin is what people want to be staring at.
Yeah, like no one likes it. What are you smiling about?
Ugh.
People got problems,
Yeah,
bitch.
people are fucked up in this country.
We got issues.
You big fucking oaf.
Big theme of tonight's debate, which is in a great place, Detroit, by the way, because you can in many ways tell the whole story of this country through the lens of Detroit and what's happened here in the last few years.
He made no attempt to do that.
About how the government and the private sector have worked well together.
We did talk over him a lot of the
turn
time.
this great city around. So I think we'll talk about those kind of issues too. So I think it's going to be a great night.
So are you going to focus on economics? Because President Trump won the state of Michigan with an economic promise to bring jobs back, get people paid more, and have those forgotten Americans remembered.
Right, and he's failed at doing that. Because the way you actually create jobs in this country is you create the kind of environment where businesses invest. And that's where we have to be as a Democratic Party. We have to have pro-business, pro-growth, pro-job policies.
Yeah, that's what an alternative to the opposition, right? Pro-business policies.
Pro-business, pro-Trump.
Wait a minute. So I look over at Trump, business. I look over at the Democrat, business.
Yeah.
How is there a fucking contrast there? The way you beat Trump is by doing his exact same policy positions across the board.
This guy fucking...
He sucks so bad. You're not a Democrat. You're a fucking moderate Republican. All right?
Pop out, you fucking...
You suck. And you know what?
Wasting your time and your money and your staffers' time and money.
Ugh.
Out.
My God.
Not gonna happen.
And that's what's going to win us 2020. And again, that's why Detroit is such a good example. I spent all morning with a bunch of...
Yeah, all the people who've been laid off or who are underpaid, they're all just like clamoring for like, oh, please, you got to make the environment better for my boss, because then that'll trickle down to me. The happier my boss is, the happier I will be by extension.
What the fuck?
Workers don't fucking think that way.
No.
No one thinks that way. No one looks above them and is like, I hope everything benefits that fucking cocksucker.
Yeah. Yeah, the only people that think that way are people like you, sitting in a catbird seat, who can spend $9 million on a fucking presidential campaign that never breaks 1%. You dumb fuck.
Listen up, serfs. Listen up, serfs. The happier your master, a happy master means a happy serf.
Yeah. Just keep me well-fed, and I'll keep you partially well-fed.
Oh, the bigger the feast I have, the more crumbs will spill down to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We both win. We both win.
Yep.
I hate this fucking
Crumble down
cocksucker.
economics.
Crumble down economics,
Yeah.
dude.
The more bread you put on the table of me, the more crumbs there are for thee. Great.
Crumble down economics. The John Delaney approach.
Oh, God, what a piece of fucking shit.
Entrepreneurs. There's a group here called Entrepreneurs of Color, who are these great entrepreneurs who are investing in Detroit
Are they
and
of
turning
color?
the city around.
Oh,
and that's
cool.
where we got to focus. How we're going to create jobs, how we're going to increase people's pay, how we're going to build infrastructure, how we're going to fix healthcare, how we're going to make public education better.
Use this time to tell us how you're going to do these things instead of just like listing off all the things a president should need to answer in an interview like this, you dumb fuck. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? That's how you're using your time in this question? Tell her how you're going to fix these things.
Yeah. You know, most of these, I mean, like, it's not even just him. Most of these guys are not really too keen on providing, like, this is my plan to accomplish X. Most of them don't really seem to actually offer substantive plans at all. You know, as much as I, like, shit on Warren for being kind of a fucking middling sellout bitch.
Right.
At least that bitch will throw out some policy positions. This fucking cocksucker, he's got nothing.
She'll talk about what she's going to do. Other than write a big fat check to fucking rich people like you.
These are the kind of kitchen table issues that matter to American families, and that.
Yeah, I've seen so many American families gather around the kitchen table, just sitting around like, man, there's got to be some fucking way we can get my boss a tax cut.
Yeah.
Got to be some fucking way.
You know, I know a lot of people are sitting around their family kitchen tables and their servant comes over to ask them would they like some pepper on that. They say, hold on, I can't think about that right now. I've got to think about my paycheck and my healthcare costs. I mean, where are you? You're the kitchen table. What the fuck do you know about a kitchen table, motherfucker? you got a dude that cooks for you. You probably eat out 90% of the time because you don't even think about that. Everything you do is a write-off, you rich fuck.
That's got
fucking idea.
to be our focus as a party. If we run on all this extreme stuff, we're not going to win.
Like the meeting you had this morning, you
shit. We're not going to win. So I just say, leave it in Trump neutral. Fuck you.
I mean, like, what the fuck? One of the reasons Trump did win is because he was out there energizing his base with fucking promises.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna build up a fucking wall! I'm gonna build a wall and I'm gonna fucking ban Muslims and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. He made big, sweeping, huge fucking promises to his base of support.
It's going to continue to, by the way.
Yeah, and that's why he fucking won. The Democrats are just like, we can't do anything, guys.
I mean, not all of them are, but this one is.
I mean, yeah,
I won't
he's just the worst. He's the worst of them, basically.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And most of them are kind of just fucking. I mean, like Buttigieg is basically just a better, more refined version of a Delaney in my mind.
I mean, yeah, he's got a few more policy positions, and he's a little easier to look at than this.
But I mean, it's still a lot of vague bullshit, and
yeah.
you know, and he did have that crust of shit on his head.
Yeah, what was that, dude?
He claims it was a gnat.
A gnat?
He said it was a gnat.
That was a fleck of shit.
have got this rollout, a commitment to Black America, where your plan is to pledge to help the African American community, just as you said. But again, the issue.
Look, dude, I'm not a black dude. You're not a black dude, but I gotta imagine that at this point you probably are done reading people's commitments to Black American shit. Like,
if I was black, I'd definitely be rolling my fucking eyes at this.
Yeah, I gotta imagine that this would be just at the back end of a million of these fucking stupid ass little new contracts with Black America that these candidates have come up with. It's like, just give the fucking substantive policies that are gonna change the lives of minority voters. Don't write up this fucking long-ass fucking bullshit that none of them are going to read because they know you have absolutely no intention of keeping a promise.
Is you're polling in the negative. How are you going to convince them to buy your idea?
Well, listen, Stephanie, I think it's still pretty darn early. I think...
No, it's not. Not for you.
Not early.
Not for you, it ain't.
It is late in the game for you, Delaney. The hour is late. It's about to strike fucking midnight.
For some other candidates, yes, it's early. But for John Delaney, no, it's not still early.
Yeah, no. It's late in the game, buddy. You ain't got much time. Well, you got no time after that last debate performance. It was abysmal.
I mean,
this was right before he went on that, you know.
Yeah, he is a joke.
Most Americans are just starting to dial in. We've got 12 debates. This is the second one. The only thing that really matters is when...
Oh my God, is he going to try to hang on through all those? I'm going to stop watching at some point because, man, ugh.
Do we have to? No. You do. You have to face it. I have to watch the fucking MAGA choir.
Yeah, that's...
You have to fucking face it, TJ.
Ugh, I just hope, man, I'm going to be so happy on the day John Delaney is a fucking distant goddamn memory. I don't have to ever think of him again.
Concession speech. I hope that CNN fills some fucking 4 a.m. slot with it or some shit. Because I want to see that shit.
Here's John Delaney's concession speech.
Maybe he won't concede all the way to the end. Maybe he'll just...
Dude, I hope he fucking does like a... he's gonna like mount like a third party run.
He'll splinter off and like split the vote, or try to. He'll just hold on to his little 0.5%.
Yeah, and literally no one has voted for John Delaney.
Please write in John Delaney. I couldn't get on the ballot. Please write in. Yeah, he starts a write. Yeah, no. Maybe he will, dude. Maybe he'll just go down. He'll campaign until he dies. Maybe every fucking election cycle will have to deal with Delaney. Kind of like they had to deal with Mike Gravel.
Yep.
Way less awesome.
Way less.
Yeah. Fuck. Delaney's gonna come and just preach the billionaire song and dance. We need to stop trying to change things as leftists. Get out of here, fucker.
And people caucus in Iowa and they primary in New Hampshire, which is not for half a year or more. So listen, I just think there's a long way to go, and we're prepared for the long race. And I think the message that I'm running on is really important, and it's what we win on. And so, you know, I'm not paying too much attention to the polls right now.
Pretty much.
Keep the rich happy and don't do any radical, you know, shifts towards any kind of leftist movement in the government.
Yeah, that's gonna win you the Democratic primary, dude.
Yeah.
You got it. You nailed it.
Paying attention to what the message I'm giving to people and how we actually beat Trump.
The lady's out here fishing for like liberal corporate people. He's like, maybe if I just kind of broadcast that I care about nothing but how much the bosses make, then all the liberal corporations will start donating and I'll have, you know, you think that's what he's fishing for here? Because he can't think.
Well, yeah, but the problem is that they're all looking at him like, no, our money's much safer, like with a Buttigieg or something.
Right.
And yeah, actually, if you look at who has them, Buttigieg has really been the one that's super cozied up to the billionaire donor class. Yeah. Biden's got a bunch too, but Buttigieg is really, really fucking. Oh shit! What happened? I don't know either. Wait, what is this? How can we help you? You don't need to help me. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off.
In 2020 and most.
All right, enough of this.
Ugh. Just gotta prattle on. Look how much time they gave this fucking dude who's.
We only got halfway through it.
Whose percentage of the vote is represented on your own graph as 2 dashes. Dash. Couldn't even give him like a 0.1 or some shit. No, he's not even on your fucking board.
The 10 most impractical, uncinematic female superhero costumes.
Oh, God, man, this is a slog today, TJ.
Designing women. There's a bit of movement in superhero media to desexualize female superhero costumes. After all, shouldn't characters who are primarily fighters who are primarily fighter?
Right, yeah.
I think you mean fighters. Prioritize their own protection as much as their male counterparts. I mean, none of the superheroes really. I mean, most of them are just wearing like spandex and shit. But
Iron Man is really known for wearing an entire suit of armor.
Right.
Everybody else has various little chunks of armor or none at all.
Anyway, but some female heroes haven't been so lucky as to get the more. Anyway, this is going to be. Here we go. So, yeah, I don't know. I like it.
I mean, the titty window thing. I don't like whatever. Like, it doesn't. What does it matter? What does it matter, honestly, that she has a titty window here? What is going to be deflected by the spandex that's on the rest of her body?
Yeah, nothing.
So, what is her? Your argument is that her tits are a little extra vulnerable to like cold? Okay.
I think there's a strategic advantage to this, you know? The villain is too distracted by the fucking luscious titties.
No, see, the male gaze should never happen, TJ.
Oh.
Even if a woman chooses.
But what if it's the villain, though?
What if it, well,
because I mean, like,
objectify her either, because she's a strong woman, and she was probably a villain because she was abused by a man at some point. Had a bad run-in with a man. That's what made her bad.
So this particular variant of Harley Quinn's costume, I guess.
Harley Quinn is.
She changes costume all the time, anyway. So.
Right. But this has kind of become the trope of Harley Quinn, is that she's kind of like the sexy, you know, whatever, little sidekick to the Joker.
But she should be desexualized, Paul.
Why?
Because it's bad to have sexy women.
Why?
In comics. Because I'm not sure on that one. I'm not sure about that, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't see Batman wearing that skimpy shit, huh? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, he's just got a codpiece and nipples on his suit. I mean, come on. Like, the dudes are not traditionally super, like, the Hulk, look at him. He's got his dick and balls are barely constrained by what used to be his pants as he bulges out of them in every fucking direction. I mean, you tell me men aren't objectified in these comics? Men aren't.
I know, I want to fuck the Hulk, so.
Their bodies aren't exploited and presented unrealistically. I mean, get on the fucking train here.
I mean, Batman is, he's all chained up and shit, you know?
Look at him in this picture. That's not fucking objectifying Batman.
He's in bat bondage. He's basically a fucking a plaything for her at this point.
God, if the roles were reversed here, there'd be a whole different article. You'd be crying about rape culture and shit.
Invisible Woman.
Hey, the 4-titty window is at least an update on the whole trope.
I like it.
I dig it. I've never seen the 4-titty window.
I'm okay with it.
But yeah, it makes sense.
Starfire here.
Okay, listen, Starfire, I don't really know all of Starfire's backstory, but I know that there's like alien shit. Look, an alien can wear what an alien wants to wear.
Also, like, her powers are, she absorbs like sun power through her skin, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure someone will. So, I mean, like, it actually makes sense from a storytelling. I mean, like, obviously this design is meant to be fucking sexually provocative, but they actually did work it into the plot, so, I mean, whatever.
Who cares? Like, what?
Star Sapphire, man. And I love how this article that claims to be this woke shit is really just an excuse for them to put up all these fucking sexual costumes.
You want to know what the funny thing is if Beyonce showed up on a red carpet wearing this, they would extol the fucking power.
Yeah, I never got that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, she's so powerful. Look at that.
Oh,
you go, girl.
She's not afraid to just let it all out there. And
but if it's a drawing in a book, then, oh, my God.
It's like,
the male gaze sickens me. Sickens me. Whatever, you know, she's got some, I mean, like, women, I mean, like, you see women wearing fucking more revealing outfits just walking around.
Not many characters can brag that they sport a top hat in battle, like a penguin. I mean, like, yeah, like, you talk about in practical costumes, the male superheroes are fucking covered in them. And like the X-Men. Look at them, they're just leotards, the head to toe, leotard. With X's over the front of their eyes in the early incarnations. You talk about impractical.
Moon Dragon.
I mean, so?
I've never even heard of Moon Dragon.
Somebody named Moon Dragon with a shaved head and an infinity gem implanted in the middle of their fucking head can wear what the fuck they want.
White Queen. I think that's, I mean, the real problem here is not it's the racism, man.
Yeah.
Why she got to be a white queen, huh?
Why can one a black queen?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Vampirella, dude.
I mean, look, dude, vampires are supposed to use sex to entice their victims.
She's a vampire.
She's a vampire. This is about as fucking, I mean, like, she's honestly naked at this point.
Really,
but
yeah.
Why would you care?
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Why is the female body verboten now in art and expression?
And Red Sonja.
Well, oh, fucking shit. Isn't the whole point?
The bikini that launched 1,000 groans.
Why?
Groans of pleasure, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, you're probably right there.
Is there any more? No, I think that's the end. All right.
Can you imagine living in like being a person that could possibly spend their time being offended by something?
Someone drew a girl in a skimpy outfit.
Comic book character who does all these implausible things like absorb power from the sun and shoot laser beams out of her eyes is wearing a bikini. It's like, me a fucking break, dude. Find a hobby.
Find a
Maybe
fucking
like
hobby.
Comic books, partially for all the hot women in them.
There you go.
That's a cool hobby.
I like it. I don't know what the fuck this is about.
Newsarama, TJ.
I don't know.
What's this?
I don't know. This is called Should We Ban All Drugs or Decriminalize Them? And I have no idea who made it or what's it about, but it sounded an interesting title, so...
Okay, well, let's take a peek.
Sounded like an interesting title. Channel 4 News.
Also in the Queen's speech, new laws to crack down on psychoactive drugs known as legal highs. Anyone who produces or supplies them could face up to 7 years in jail. We've been speaking with Dr. Carl Hart, a scientist at Columbia University who believes in the decriminalization of certain drugs, and Neil McKechnie, the founder of the Center for Drug Misuse Research, who favors a blanket ban. I began by asking Dr. Hart for his reaction to the Queen's speech law.
I mean, the vast majority of people who use drugs...
Of course you'd be on drugs.
Don't abuse drugs. They go to work, they are responsible citizens, and to have these blanket bans, it's an ignorant approach, really. I mean, we are, as you're being ignorant, thinking people, you figure out what the problem is, and then you precisely...
What do you think, giant, terrifying head on screen?
Oh my God, dude. What do you think? Bond villain reject number 15.
Attack the problem.
Neil.
Well, the proposal here seems to be that we should target these drugs and ban them.
Okay, this guy is drugs. I feel like I'm on drugs looking at him.
He looks like I don't know how Harry Potter missed this guy, because they could have saved themselves a lot of money on that fucking goblin makeup. He's a bank gremlin for sure, dude.
Them for those people who get into difficulties and accommodate or tolerate their use for people who don't get into difficulty. That may seem a rational approach, but quite frankly, we have no idea who is going to get into difficulty with these drugs. We can't predict who it is. We often don't know the chemical constituents of these substances. If they're highly addictive, then there will be a range of other problems.
We don't know the chemical constituent. I guess the people buying it don't, but are you saying that science doesn't know what kind of drugs people are taking and what the chemical composition of them are?
That's what it sounded like he said. Why is he at a call center? What's going on? Is that like the newsroom back there? Or?
Maybe it's green screened in newsrooms
that will surface in an individual's life.
It definitely, yeah, it does
banning
look green
them,
screened
actually,
in.
whether one likes it or not, whether one's an optimist about human nature or not, that has to be an important part of how we're tackling our drug problem.
I think that...
Roll the fucking dirt.
It'd be funny if she got up and slapped the fucking back of his bald head like, you farted!
You disgusting twat! You farted!
There was some misinformation just said, right? When the comment that said...
Shut up, druggie. There was some misinformation being said, man. You know, that comment that he made... That was not a good comment, man. Let me tell you why, cuz.
Comment was that we can't predict who will get in trouble. You should know, I am a researcher, and I have given these drugs, these psychoactive drugs, thousands of doses of these drugs as part of my research. We know how to predict quite a bit about
quite a bitch? Ooh. We know how to predict quite a bitch. Oh yeah, bitch.
These drugs. We know under the conditions under which people will get in trouble. We know the conditions under which positive effects are more likely. So that's just simply not true. I'm sorry, I'm talking.
Oh.
Ooh, a little sass on that.
I'm talking right now, giant head.
Well, that woke you up, probably better than a cup of coffee.
And so to have these blanket approaches without being smart and targeting what the problem is, it's just not smart.
What about the point, Neil, that 90% of people who use drugs don't get into the sort of trouble you're describing?
Well, two things. It's quite different to supply these drugs in a research environment, to look at how they're used on the streets. You were a drugs worker in the past, John. You will know that there's no resemblance whatsoever to these two different contexts. On the streets, these drugs are highly dangerous and highly unpredictable. That may be different in a research environment.
Yeah, the drugs change based on where they are.
The thing I know about drugs is their unpredictability.
The thing about it is that the main, most of the problems relating to drugs really stem from their being illegal.
Right. People
Like,
cutting it with things that they shouldn't be cutting it with.
Yeah, there's no
products that make it more toxic than it should be.
There's no regulation to it.
For that.
Well, they're not even talking about legalization, though, unfortunately. They're just talking about decriminalization. But, I mean, at least if it was decriminalized, there could be some oversight. I mean, really, it should be legalized and regulated. But whatever. That's, I guess you're not ready for that even discussion to happen yet.
I know they talk about drugs as a blanket thing.
Yeah, like all drugs. Drugs.
Right, drugs.
You know,
same thing with
crack and LSD and heroin and all of it.
Yeah.
It's all just one thing.
Right.
Drugs. You can all go under the same banner. That's like saying cars, you know, and you're not making any differentiation between a fucking, you know, a Mazda and a Lamborghini or something.
I also say the proposition that 90% of people who use these drugs don't get into difficulty, that is an absolutely fanciful statistic. I would like to see the evidence that identifies what proportion, precisely with that level of precision, of people get into difficulty.
The 80-90% figure is in your book.
Yes, the 80 to 90% figure is in my book. It's in statistics that have been collected worldwide, including the United States, for 50, 40 years at least. Anybody who studies drugs.
It's kind of weird. 50-40.
That's like 5,040 years. That's a lot of time.
They know this. This is not even controversial. And then back to the issue of the street drugs being different from the drugs that we study in the laboratory. Now that should provide some evidence for us to look at precisely what's in the street drugs that's causing the problem. And when we think about what's in the street drugs that's causing the problem, what we will find is that the deaths are not being caused by the drugs that we already know. That's precisely my point. And so we should target those things that we are concerned about.
But I don't understand what that meant.
That totally lost me there. The deaths are not being caused by those things that we know.
I don't know. That which we know is not known.
With the psychological implication there. I don't understand, Professor. I'm sorry.
In terms of prison, for example, prisons are absolutely rife with drugs. People actually get turned on in prison. And under your regime, more and more people go to prison.
Well, prison has to remain a punishment for a serious case of drug supply, but where there are people in prison who have a drug problem, the burden of responsibility is to ensure that we provide
no, but the argument surely should be there is no point putting people in prison for...
The argument surely should be, like, wow, the fucking moderator is basically dictating your points to you at this point.
Yeah. Really what you wanted to say there was... Come on, toe the BBC line now.
For drugs. I mean,
no,
where did it get you?
Sorry, John, I disagree. Unless one's going to say that if you commit a crime and you're not using drugs, you get prison. If you are using drugs, you get to get out of jail card.
I don't think anyone's saying that. That's a pretty ridiculous fucking... No one's saying that if you commit a crime, like, the crime should be treated the same way no matter what. Like, drugs shouldn't be a mitigating factor to get you out of jail free if you commit a different crime. Like, it's okay that I raped people because I was drunk.
Right.
You can't make that argument. Yeah, but this guy seems to be refuting it like as if someone did. I don't think anyone did. I didn't understand the professor's last answer, so maybe he did make that argument, but I don't think so.
For that reason. We don't have a two-tiered legal system in here. If you commit infractions, they receive due punishment. The responsibility on the government and on the prison service is to ensure that whilst in prison, people have access to the very best treatment. Now, we don't do as much on that front as we need to do. Right. But I don't think it's appropriate.
Let me put this to Carl.
Yeah, so the issue of drug enforcement being reduced there, it's just simply not true. I don't know if you've been...
I don't know what you're talking about because you kind of just mumbled there. The issue of drug enforcement, it's just not true.
It's not true, man. Listen.
All right, you're not making a great case because you seem like you're fucking way too high to even be doing this goddamn interview.
Maybe you shouldn't have done that test in your laboratory.
Reading the reports here, when we think about drug enforcement, the number of stops, for example, in this country in terms of drug enforcement, you have racial disparities and that sort of thing. Like, for example, nationwide, black people are 5 times more likely to be stopped by the police. as a result of drugs, in search for drugs. And in London itself, they're 3 times more likely to be stopped. So when we think about the way that we enforce drug laws in this country, as well as abroad, we know that these laws, for example, target various groups. And these laws are used in a way to continue to marginalize various groups. So I just don't accept your notion that we have reduced our drug enforcement. It's just simply not true.
I mean, that is a fair point, isn't it, Neil, in the sense that...
I mean, it's kind of besides the point, really. I mean, it's a different point, I would say. It's not a bad point in and of itself. I don't really know how it's a refutation of what the other guy said. I feel like we did a better job of that, but...
I feel like you just kind of pre-prepared yourself to answer a different question and decided to try and squeeze it in, because I'm confused once again by both of these people. So BBC 4 this morning, we have 2 confusing idiots lobbing wimpy insults back and forth to one another.
It's typical British TV, I guess. All right, so we're going to take a little break. I'm going to go ahead and just play the... I mean, I'm going to have to splice anyway. I'll just stop recording for a minute.
Okay.
As I'm going to have to prepare for this next one.
Okay.
Okay. 100 easy ways to make the world better for trans people. All right, so listen. I shouldn't have to fucking do this, but I guess I'm going to. I don't have any anti-trans fucking sentiment. I believe that trans people have every right to do with their bodies as they please, just like I believe everyone else has that same right. I'm a transhumanist. I believe that people should be able to augment their bodies in any way they so choose, and I have absolutely zero problem with trans people on any level. However, I do take issue with people telling me what I need to do to convenience them.
Okay.
Because I don't get to make that imposition on others, nor do I want that. Now, maybe you can say that's because I'm not part of a marginalized identity group, but then you're saying that I'm not marginalized by my bisexuality. I'm not marginalized by, I don't know, what the fuck else, being an atheist, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
overweight.
Yeah, being fat. You know, there's lots of things you can make an argument for marginalization. I don't go around telling people you got to do this and you got to do that.
Accommodate me this.
You know what you got to do for me in a fucking polite society is don't fucking kill me.
Don't impede me.
Yeah, don't fucking try to.
Stay out of my way.
Don't use the legal process to hurt me. Don't use, whatever. You don't actually hurt me. Allow me to pursue my happiness the way that I see fit, as long as I'm not hurting others.
Seems pretty fucking straight and narrow to me.
So that's my fucking philosophy. That's what I believe. And if you want to make arguments against that, fine. But just don't paint me as like I'm transphobic because I'm going to have problems with this list.
Right.
Now, there might be items on this list that I look at and say, hey, that's reasonable. That might even be most of them. I don't know. I haven't dug into it.
Yeah, we don't know.
But I know that there's going to be at least some shit on this list that I have a problem with, or I'm at least going to need clarification on.
And you're not going to get it.
Right, I know. Because that would require an actual discussion.
Yes.
Anyway, we know, I mean, this whatever, bullshit, who cares? Let's get right to the fucking list because it's long. All right, so respect people's pronouns. All right, I'm already on board with it. Fine. As long as they don't, I mean, look, I'll use the he, her, she, him. I'll even try, make it a sporting effort to do they, them.
Yeah.
If it's an individual person asking me to do that, I'll make an effort.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing Zer, bun self. I'm not doing any of that shit. I'm not doing any made up new fucking pronouns. I only have so much storage space in this fucking brain. But as far as like, I'm a she. Fine, you're a she. You say you're a she, I'm down with it. Rock on. You want to be a bun? I'm sorry. Go get me a fucking burger then. Still on pronouns. If you don't know somebody's pronouns and want to get it right, either use gender neutral pronouns. No, I'm not going to do this default to they, their shit.
No.
If someone looks like a he to me, I'm going to say he. And if I'm corrected, I will relent at that point.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to work.
I'm perfectly happy to do so, by the way.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to be aggressive by labeling people as they appear. So if somebody says, hey, actually, I'm a trans woman, could you please say she? I would say, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. No problem. I wasn't aware. I'll correct that.
All right. Trans folks can use gender neutral pronouns, so please do not assume that we must adhere to a binary. I don't know what that means. try to start removing binary language from your... No. You don't get to control my everyday conversations. That's too far. See, this is where we have issues. I'm not going to try to remove binary language from my everyday conversations because most people, the vast majority of people, are comfortable within that binary. I'm sorry that that's the case. I'm sorry to you that that's the case, but you're the fucking exception. You're not the rule.
I mean, the body of this stops for me. When you're trying to tell me what to say and what not to say, we're already going to have an automatic problem. I don't care what the subject matter afterwards is, whether it's your pronouns or your gender or whatever it is. I say what I want. I'm a grown fucking man. I say what the fuck I want, and I assume that you are a grown person that does the same. Is that not a more respectful way to come at somebody than try and start talking different than you've learned all your life? Fuck you.
Yeah, if I want to make that decision, that's, you know, whatever. You could try to convince me of that position, but you're not just going to, by decree, tell me that. Trans women are women. This is not for debate, so I'm not going to try to. But you know what? If someone else wants to try to, I believe that's their right to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, if Ben Shapiro wants to get out there, as stupid as I think he is and insipid as I think he is, if he wants to get up there and make the case, I don't think trans women are really women, and I'm not going to respect their pronouns. That's his right to do that. And it's your right to say, fuck him, he's a piece of shit. And I'll agree with you. If you say, fuck him, he's a piece of shit, I'll be like, yeah, you're damn right, he's a piece of shit. And then when you say, we need to censor him, I'm going to say, no, we don't. Let him be a piece of shit. It's a big world. There's tons of pieces of shit. He thinks we're pieces of shit. You know, everyone's entitled to their opinion about that. You know, you're a piece of shit, I'm a piece of shit. Who's a piece of shit? Who cares? Everyone's got that right to say someone else is a piece of shit or to judge them by whatever criteria they want, reasonable or not. Trans men exist. We are often overlooked and forgotten. Try to remind... Yeah, fine. Gotcha. I'm down with it.
I never said they did.
No one ever said... well, maybe someone did, but, you know, whatever. Call out transphobia wherever you are. Even if a trans person is not present, be our defense. I'm not going to do that. I'll be real honest with you. I'm just not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste my time on that. Unless someone is like, let's kill the trans people, I might say something then. But you know what? I'm not really looking for conflict in my day-to-day life.
No, I mean, in fact, I avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, like, even when someone says something that's personally offensive to me on a deep personal level, I let it slide. That's just my nature. You know, because I just don't feel like dealing with that shit.
Well, words like...
I'm not stupid enough to believe I can really change someone else's opinion.
And isn't this, like, kind of denigrating the strength of these people, too? Do you think that all trans people want everybody in the place to white knight for them? Don't you think that trans people can handle themselves when faced with instances of transphobia?
Understand and be vocal that transphobia is never funny, in jest, or banter. I'm sorry, but you don't control what's funny.
No, you don't.
You don't control what's in jest, and you don't control what's banter.
Nope.
None of that is under your control.
I don't remember
the fact that you
control of those concepts to whoever wrote this fucking article.
The fact that your body doesn't match your brain, or whatever, that you feel this dysphoria, or that you feel called to be a gender that's, you know, opposite of your biological sex, or however you want to phrase that. That gives you zero power over what's funny, what's in jest, or what's banter.
Nope.
You just don't have that ability.
Look, I think it's better that we just understand the universal truth that everything is funny. Everything, when looked at from the right perspective or presented in the right way, is fucking funny. And anything can be a joke, and anything can be banter. Is that a more inclusive way of looking at speech than this?
Don't refer to us as a whole. Do not make sweeping generalizations about every... Look, you've done that. I mean, you're universally declaring that this is what the trans community wants, and that this is how, you know, cis people need to behave in relation to trans people. So you're at this point doing that very thing. So I'm not going to take that seriously. Reject the idea that transitioning looks like one thing. People wish to transition in various ways. Like I said at the beginning of this, I consider myself a transhumanist. I don't know if Paul does as well.
I do.
But if people want any augmentation that someone wants to make to their own body, short of like, I'm gonna have laser beams that come out of my eye, like, I don't want them to have deadly weapons built into their bodies. But anything else, for the most part, I'm okay with. You know, if we get to the point where, you know, someone can, I don't know, have cyborg arms or cyborg legs, but to the point where it becomes so much better that it's like voluntary.
Right.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, me too.
So changing your gender, I don't care if you want to look, the South Park episode is like, oh, you know, it's so ridiculous. People are going to look like dolphins. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. You want to be a fucking dolphin? None of my fucking business. I might have a giggle at your expense, but that's about all I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I ain't going to try to stop you.
That's why I never understand the restrictive kind of puritanical look at things. Like, why would you not want total autonomy over your own body?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you want that? Why would you want somebody interceding and going, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't have this breast implant, you can't have whatever. Like, why would you ever want to stand in? Dude, the way I look at life is like, this is like a meat prison.
Yes.
And however you have to decorate your cell to get you through the fucking day until you're finally released, go for it, man. Why would I ever want to stop anybody from doing that? Why do I care?
Never ask anything about our genitalia or body.
Fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I personally would not, but, well, maybe I would if I was drunk.
In the proper context, I would. If I knew somebody that was trans and we had an open relationship and I was curious about it and they told me previously that they were open to questions about things that I might have wondered about, I'd ask.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have, like, a dick that was made out of a clit, or vice versa, you know?
Versii.
How did it feel before and after? Like, what's the difference? Why is curiosity about the state of trans a bad thing inherently?
I don't know. Curiosity is bad. Let's not forget, we do not all know each other. The queer community is bigger than you think. All right, if someone believes that you all know each other, then they're retarded.
Right.
So I'm okay with that.
But once again, I think it bears pointing out that this article kind of portrays trans people like a hive mind.
It does.
So...
try to refrain from using language. Once again, no. I just object. I don't even know what the rest of the sentence is, but I object. Heavily influenced drive for queer. Okay, whatever. I don't listen to you. Do not enter queer or trans safe spaces without a queer person asking. I don't know. I wouldn't want to.
These are private places, and they're out of the way and like not advertised as anybody can walk in, and probably don't have like free ice cream. I'm never gonna walk into one anyway.
Yeah. Who cares? No one wants to be there. When you are in queer spaces, repeat, this is not my space. I will not fill it and actually do what you... I don't care. What do you mean? I don't even know what that means.
Excuse me?
I'll do whatever I want wherever I am.
Quote, this nebulous, undefined queer spaces, whatever that means. I have to constantly mutter, this is not my space. I will not fill it. This is not my space. Like, what?
You are barely allowed to exist here.
Man, you're not even getting past the try to augment your language shit with us. What makes you think we're going to be muttering like some weird monks in queer spaces for you?
Whatever those are. Be aware of your hands. Do not touch people without consent in all spaces, and especially queer space. No, there's no especially. Don't go around touching people you're not supposed to touch.
There's no especially, yeah, no.
You don't get special. Everyone has the same right to not be touched if they don't want to be touched.
Yeah, don't violate anybody's personal space bubble. I think we can all agree on that.
That has nothing to do with trans people.
Non-queer people don't like strangers' hands on them any more than queer people do.
Right.
Trust me.
If you are called out for being offensive, do not argue. This is not a debate. No, whatever. I'll debate any goddamn thing I want.
You don't get to define what is and isn't a debate. You don't get to define when I argue.
Yeah, you don't get to tell us before the arguments even happened that you just automatically win. That's not. You don't get to write the rule book on that. Okay? No. No, you don't get to. What if the person is like? What if the person is taking offense to something that's truly, absolutely fucking ridiculous? That even you, the author of this article, would say is ridiculous.
By the way, what does this have to do with specifically trans issues?
Nothing.
This has now just become a whole like, here's how you live according to the new way. Like, when did we stop making trans people's lives better and start worrying about how I conduct myself in public as an adult?
Never try to argue with a trans person that something isn't transphobic. Once again, you don't get to control what I argue about. Remind us that being trans isn't a burden or a bad. Why do I need to? I don't need to remind. You need me to remind you that being trans is okay. Why do you need my fucking validation? Didn't you say just a few earlier that you don't need validation?
No, now they want it.
Let's see. I believe they say that somewhere up here. Yeah, this is a personal journey that doesn't need to tick any boxes in order to be the transition to be validated by anyone.
Right. So
you don't
validate them on number 10, but validate them on number 17.
19,
okay.
yeah.
19, yeah.
I don't. You know, I'm not your validation machine. Get out of here. Recognize the strength and power of your voice. Okay, I recognize this. I mean, like even me and Paul's voices, because we have this little tiny YouTube thing, are slightly more powerful than the average person's. But even they are just nothing in the vast sea of fucking voices and opinions and bullshit going on out there. So my voice has very little power or strength. Paul's voice has very little power or strength. Most people, unless you're a mega superstar.
We've got more than your average Joe.
Right, but it still ain't much.
When it's down to brass tacks, nobody of import's listening to us, and if they are, they ain't telling nobody about it. You know what I mean? We don't have any more reach than you do.
Now use it. I will, for my own needs.
Constantly.
Yeah, that's basically all we do. If a trans person is being verbally assaulted, made to feel unsafe or uncomfortable, or being attacked in any way and needs your help, open your mouth.
Okay, I'm going to do that for anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to
see anybody getting the shit kicked out of them. I'm going to call 911 no matter if it's a trans person or not.
Yes, exactly. And if someone's being verbally castigated and I'm in that same social situation, I mean, you know. I mean, if I'm just walking down the street and some bullshit's going down, I'm probably not going to involve myself.
No, I ain't going to poke my nose in a verbal disagreement.
Because I don't even know what the fuck is going on there. But
how do you take a side?
If I do know both sides, I'll step in.
If an assault is happening,
right.
His life is in danger, I'll step in to the best of my ability, no matter what the gender of the person.
This being said, do not become the ally that speaks over or for a trans person in this situation.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh my God.
Oh man, beggars can't be choosers. You ever heard that?
Fuck that. I'm not walking a tightrope for you.
But intercede in this exact way, or else your intercession will be offensive to me. Fuck you. Why don't you just ask us not to help you?
Talk to us about more than gender. You're the one who seems hung up on that.
Yeah.
Take us off your mood boards.
What is that?
I don't even know what a mood board is. Book us, pay us, and celebrate us? I'm not going to pay you for being trans. Go away. Do not fetishize trans folk. We are not your sexual experimentations, tokens, or reason to rebel against your parents. We are not here for you.
You don't get to tell me what I fetishize. You don't get to be the fucking little cop in my brain that tells me what gets my dick hard and what doesn't.
Criticize the media. Write to the newspapers. Sure, I'll do whatever you want. I'm going to criticize it. Learn what MX means. Nothing. Talk to the generation above you, your parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go talk to my parents and get them on your side.
I mean, I do. It's tough sometimes, but I do.
Support the generation below. Speak to young kids. Make them aware that gender... I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to talk to the generation below or above me or even my generation. I want to have as little conversation with other human beings as I can possibly get away with. I'm not a social butterfly. I find social interaction with other people to be completely fucking draining for the most part.
I mean, I'm not that way, but I'm still not the type of person that's literally going into public seeking out constant social interaction and making commentary on people's genders. If I go out to get a bag of chips and some salsa, I go grab that and I go home. I don't want to talk to anybody. If I can do that whole thing without talking to a person, I'm fucking perfectly happy with that.
Don't buy gendered things for kids around you. This just pushes the idea that boys must like blue and girls must. Well, aren't we trying to say that none of that even has gendered connotations anyway? So what does it even matter? I don't know.
That's what I thought the idea was, but I guess I was wrong again. Like I said, at 12, I thought I knew what the score was, but at 31, the script is flipped again.
Stop pretending only trans people experience name changes or surgery. Me changing my name and getting a friend getting married and changing her surname. Hey, what's this her shit? Aren't you supposed to default to gender neutral language?
Yeah, what was that? Follow your own fucking rules, you asshole.
Anyway, whatever. You know, you change your name.
Be specific. He's talking.
Yeah, maybe a specific friend. Yeah, I gotcha.
He knows her pronouns.
What's this he shit? You don't know. Share your platforms. I am tired of cis people talking about trans health. Ask us to talk, educate, share our stories, and pay us. What's this pay shit? Yeah, we ain't your fucking pay pigs. You don't get fucking money because you fucking want a dick but have a vag, or vice versa.
I mean, I'd be happy to support with my tax dollars, like clinics and stuff that help people that are transitioning and shit. But as far as like me cutting you a check because you're a trans person? Fuck you.
Support.
Cut me a check because I'm a fat ass then.
Yeah, where's my fat check?
Hey, where's my fat dividend?
Support trans artists. I'll support whatever artists are good. If I like an artist, I'll fucking support them. If I don't, I won't. And it's not going to be based on some stupid shit like, are they trans?
Once again, why do I feel like you're trying to set up shop in my brain as the cop that gets to tell me what rocks and what doesn't and what gets my dick hard? Like, why is this? Would you accept this from me? If I wrote an article called 100 Ways Trans People Can Make Life Better for Cis People.
Of course not.
Absolutely not.
But they have a built-in excuse not to. The world already panders to you, sissy.
Oh, I got it.
Don't expect trans folks to always congratulate you for being. I don't care. I don't need your accolades. Donate to organizations and charities that are set up. How are we only on 36?
I will donate to whoever the fuck I want. Like, I don't even need to fucking read this. You don't get to tell me how to spend my money or how to spend my time or what to listen to. You get it yet?
Do not tell us what RuPaul, Trump, or the Daily Mail said about us. Chances are we already know. All right, fine. I
could care less.
Post about the hashtag Black Trans Lives Matter campaign. You're getting it's too. That's
this is so like why are we now like your personal little hashtag crusade is my fucking concern as a cis person.
Yeah, go buy some bots like everybody else. If you're dating a trans person, try to understand their triggers. For example, me and my partner call my menstrual cycle Lucifer. So if I text her to say Lucifer is here, she knows to bring chocolate and pillows. You can also try, I don't care. I don't care about your personal fucking problems. Do not tell us we are playing the victim. We are the fucking victim. I mean, sometimes you are. You're not always. You're not just inherently a victim.
What a fucking counter to your portrayal earlier of trans people as strong and independent and not needing constant fucking attention and fawning over. You're constantly a victim?
Every time. Every second of every day, victim.
No matter what. Wow.
Do not attend panels that address gender and or trans identity if everyone on the panel is cis.
Fuck you, I'll go to whatever panel I want.
I don't give a shit about no panels anyway, but
I want to listen to, and you're not going to stand in the way of that. If you try to, I'll kick your fucking ass.
Give trans creatives platform. I don't have creative platforms to give, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Do your research. For all ignorant questions, divert to Google. Google is your friend. Weren't you just saying earlier that we need to pay trans people to educate us, but now you're saying you don't want to educate us anymore? Or just not if you're paid, if you're not paid, I guess.
By the way, if everything is so fucking easily done and, you know, non-complex, it's just going to Google, then what do we need this list for?
Yeah. If trans folks if trans folk do have to explain something to you that may be uncomfortable, triggering, or upsetting for us, buy us a bunch of flowers. What? Take us for dinner? Drop something into our PayPal? No labor should be free. You explaining something to me is not labor.
No.
If explaining shit is labor, then you should be paying me right now for explaining to you why this list is a piece of shit. Transphobia is a huge issue in the queer community. Do not let other people who identify as queer get away with things because I'm not even allowed to say anything to them, according to you. I'm not allowed to argue with them, remember? I'm not allowed to debate queer people. So if a queer person says all trans people should be killed, I'm not even allowed to disagree. You've put me in a position where by your own rules, I'm not allowed to disagree. So unless Rule 45 supersedes Rule whatever that was. Record transphobic incidents. What? I mean, how many do you think I just routinely see transphobic shit happening all around me and I need to start journaling it and shit?
Yeah, you just keep your head down for about 12 or 13 instances of rank transphobia a day, TJ, and you know it. Start filming that shit and calling it out.
Don't question someone's religious beliefs because they are trans and you think it goes against what it says in the Holy Book.
I question your religious belief, period, point blank, despite the fact that you're trans. How's that? I think you're equally stupid, no matter what.
Trans issues are not for profit. That's it. Excuse me? Haven't you said to pay you like 80 times in this article?
Why are there ads on this article, Vice?
And also, why has this author explicitly said that they should be paid to explain trans issues earlier in this? What?
So they're okay. Never mind. This is just
Queer is not a theme. Do not have a queer house party and let boys who still use the word faggot wear your heels and dresses because it's fun. I don't know. Have you ever even heard of such a thing? I've never heard of such a thing. Drag queens are not always trans, but they can be, so respect that. All right, whatever. I don't care. Do not make someone feel bad after dragging you for something you have done that is deemed transphobic. Your guilt is not my guilt to feel. Once again, I don't even know, but...
Don't tell me what to do, bitch.
Don't ask what gender dysphoria feels like because it's a stupid question and there's no way you can try to understand it.
Then stop talking about it.
Yeah.
If there's no way that anybody other than you can possibly understand what it is, then stop talking about it in public. Isn't that the easier way to do it? Why would you babble on about something utterly incomprehensible to somebody that can't understand it? So I'm actually for this one. Keep your goddamn motherfucking mouth shut about your gender dysphoria, and so will I. How's that?
Ask your friends or trans folk you know if they'd like company when going to hospital appointments. Hospitals are scary at the best. I got better shit to do than babysit you at the fucking hospital. Do anything you can to stop trans exclusionary radical feminists from leaving stickers, leaflets, etc. Tear down everything you see associated with them. No.
No, I will not fucking silence your enemies for you. You dumb bitch. Who do you think I am? Just your mook?
Apparently.
Oh, get out there around town and tear down every banner. All right, boss. Right away.
Do not engage in question-based conversations with TERFs. You have nothing to learn from them. Oh,
I will talk to anybody.
I'm sorry. I forgot that I don't have the freedom to associate with whoever I want.
I'll have a conversation with anybody in this fucking world that I want to.
Yeah, I don't care. If Adolf Hitler was brought back from the dead, I'd be happy to sit across the table from him and talk it out. You know?
I don't think we'd talk it out necessarily, but I'd have a conversation and a beer with him.
Yeah, it's like, so, Hitler, why'd you do that?
What the fuck, man? Seriously, like, man to man, what the fuck?
Correct others when they misgender people. That's up to them, so whatever. Gender and sexuality are not the same thing. Remember that at all times. Fine. Do not ask a trans person's partner what being in a relationship with a trans person makes them. Okay. Trans lives matter should be more than a hashtag. Push it further than social media. I don't know what that means.
I'm not your fucking water carrier, okay? Don't tell me what to push. I'm not your...
Tell your trans friends and partners how great they look. What if they don't?
Yeah, what if they look like shit? Like, so we should lie to people that look like shit now?
Patronize and lie to your trans friends.
Yeah. Wouldn't you want to be told if you were about to go out and you look like shit? So wait a minute. So if my trans friend comes out and she's normally flawless and she's been drinking and she's got lipstick smeared all over her face and her mascara fucking all fucked up and she looks like a demon zombie, I'm supposed to let her walk out like that? Okay, fair enough.
You are not a true ally if you allow your partner to use transphobic language. Allow my partner? I don't own my partner.
Yeah, my partner says whatever she wants.
What the fuck? I mean, the idea that I'm like, this is like caveman shit.
Yeah.
Like I should be like, bitch, you won't talk like that and smack her or something? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't control her language. Just because we're in a relationship doesn't mean I own her. Like, get with the fucking, am I out feministing you at this point? Love your children regardless of what gender. Luckily, I don't have to worry about any of this parenting shit.
Goodness,
I didn't fall for that scheme.
Yeehaw.
Offer shelter, money, food. No, I don't know. I'm not a hotel.
Yeah, I'm not your fucking personal piggy bank.
This is not a phase. Don't tell me. All right, fine. I don't care. If your trans friend is leaving a social situation and feels uneasy about travel, offer to walk them to a train station and who the fuck uses a train? I don't really know. Wait with them, drive them home, get them a taxi, traveling alone. Okay, whatever.
I would do this for any friend.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, if they're a friend, that's a friend. I mean, whatever. Do not think you are saving us. We don't need you're very confusing on this point.
Yeah, save us, save us. Don't save us. Quit trying to save us, but please save us. Step in every time we fucking need you. It's like at least go through this list and make sure it's consistent.
It's not even remotely.
It's confusing. It's dizzying.
Be active about your allyship. Just saying you're an ally but not doing enough to actually make the changes enough. Well, as you just said, you don't need my saving you, so.
You don't need... Yeah, but you do.
You don't, but you do, but you don't, but you do, but you don't, but you do, but you don't, but you do. Avoid gendered slang terms like dude, man, and missy. No. All right, expand your knowledge of gender. For example, the Yoruba language is genderless. Well, I don't speak Yoruba, dude. I speak English.
Isle of Yoruba or whatever the fuck. I speak English, and in English there are 2 genders.
Decolonize the way you think of gender. Remind yourself that these social constructs are post-colonial issues that the Western world have pushed onto people. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but...
Yeah, if that is true, I would have that as a fact in my head at the back end of some research and reading from actual scholars and shit. Not as a bullet point on a long list of bullshit that's already made no sense up until this point. Thank you very much.
Be hyper aware of the systems that work against trans folks and issues like policing, housing, and healthcare. I don't have to be hyper aware of whatever, but I mean, I look, those issues exist. Do I think it's good to have some awareness of that sort of discrimination happening in the world? Sure.
You don't get to tell me what I should and shouldn't be aware of or hyper aware of.
That's definitely true. Offer to help go to health and whatever. If I know you, I might. But
if I have a trans friend who needs a ride to one, I'll give him one. How's that?
Correct yourself if you accidentally misgender someone. It doesn't matter if it was an accident. It still hurts. Make no excuses for others. No trans person wants to hear one from your friends no trans person wants to hear one of your friends say something offensive only to say, I've known them for ages, they don't mean it like that.
I don't make excuses for what my friends say. If you have a problem with what somebody that's a friend of mine says, walk up to them and confront them about it. Don't be a pussy and come to me about it. I don't speak for my friends, nor do they speak for me.
Don't forget that racism is rife in the queer community, and trans people of color are often the most vulnerable. Protect us. No, you literally said not to. Make up your fucking mind, you psycho. And I don't know that racism is rife in the queer community. I don't know that. It's none of my business. Do not call yourself an ally if you do not believe in complete intersectionality. You be xenophobic and be an ally for trans folk. It doesn't work like that, I'm afraid.
Do you understand the concept of intersectionality to a point where you could give me a brief fucking rundown of it? Do you know what it means?
Yes, I think I do. It's basically just the oppression Olympics codified.
So
it basically means like let's say you're a foreigner. Mm-hmm. And you're trans, and you're black. You get to play all those cards, and the more cards you have, the harder you get to play it. Right?
The louder your voice should be.
Right. So you're super marginalized because you got all these little identity points that are associated with all these different things. So maybe, like if we're playing the Oppression Olympics, I'm like, well, I'm fat and I'm bisexual and I'm an atheist. And they can say, well, I'm a black trans little person. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, you win. So you get to talk. There's probably objections to what I just said, but that as close as I can tell is what intersectionality is about.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
So fuck that.
You don't get to tell me what to believe in.
Sex work is a service. What does that have to do with? Is that a trans thing? No, that's not even a trans issue.
Why are we off again onto something that isn't necessarily a direct trans issue?
Do not ask to try on or feel a strap-on breastplate or packer. These belong to.
Why would you ever want to touch somebody else's?
I don't know.
Underwear or whatever.
But if I did want that, I'll ask for it, and you can't stop me. And it's up to me and whoever I ask what the fucking answer to that question is. Believe trans folk when they say they've been targeted. Recognize. I don't believe anyone without skepticism. Sorry. Read Charlie. No, you don't get to assign me reading material. Relearn there is no universal trans experience. Not all of us. Well, this list would lead one to believe otherwise.
Yeah, if there isn't one, then how does this list exist?
Share our work. Often our talents are overlooked. I'll share the work of whoever I think has good work. Step down.
Shut up.
Take up less space. No, I don't. No. You don't get to try to raise your social standing by making me lower mine.
And why do you get to talk to me that way? Like I would talk to my dog.
Sit down. Shut up.
Take up that space on the couch down there. Goddamn. Get over there on the margin.
Love us and see us as human beings. After all, that's what we are. Well, Could I ask you to maybe return the favor a little bit and not treat me like fucking your little bitch that's supposed to do everything for you but not do everything for you? Like, okay, so capitulate to me, but don't make it seem like you're being ass kissy towards me, because that's weird. You got to strike that proper balance, you know?
Yeah.
Watch, pose, I don't know. No. You don't get to tell me what to read. You don't get to tell me what to watch.
Never.
You want to make suggestions? Fine. You want to tell me what to do?
This book, if you want to understand this concept, is a way better way of coming at people. It's how I do it.
Learn the correct terminology. There's whatever. The people talk how they want. There's no correct terminology. Transgenders is not a thing. We do not fall under one group. Never say. How many times do you reiterate that same point?
While grouping everybody under one umbrella.
While undercutting it constantly, by the way. Fight for our rights. Block and report pages. No. Help to introduce gender-neutral bathrooms.
I'm fine with this.
Yeah.
I honestly don't give a fuck as long as there's stalls where I don't have to shit in front of everybody. I want that in a men's room. So that's really the only thing that I would miss about a men's room.
If somebody who is trans asks you to go to the bathroom with them, go.
I mean, if I have a friend that asks me to do something like that, and it's very easy for me to respect that, I'm going to do it no matter what. Probably, if they're my friend.
I don't know. I'm weird about that. Pride is not for you to get drunk and smear glitter on your face. Respect that this is not. Fuck you. I'll do what I want. Ugh. Trans-only groups are there for a reason. These are not. Who's the fucking? Where are all these desperate cis people trying to fucking infiltrate every trans group and queer space and whatever the fuck else?
Yeah, like I've never once set foot in a queer space, as far as I know, in all my 39 years.
Your curiosity does not come before our comfort. Don't expect answers in labor. That's fine. You could. That's yeah. If I want to ask a question and you say that's none of your fucking business, I'll be like, all right, sorry.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Saying I do not see gender is hella problematic. We do not need another way to be erased.
Shut up.
You're not being erased at that point, though. It's just saying I don't give a fuck. You want to be this, you want to be that, who gives a shit? It's not important. The fact that it's so central to your identity that you feel erased if it's taken away is a problem. Don't assume anything. That's like saying, like, you know, if someone came to me, it's like, you know, trying to comfort me about being fat, and they're like, I don't even see your size, honestly. I just see you as a person. I'm not gonna be like, oh shit, you're erasing me. It's like, oh good, we can just set that issue aside then and not make it a thing. That's what's being said there. Don't assume anything about gender dysphoria. Not everyone experiences it. Not everyone experiences it the same way. People now, all right, whatever.
Can you just tell us that it's completely impossible for us?
Yeah, we can't. That's beyond our comprehension. Don't even try. Yeah, don't even try.
Agreed. I will never fucking talk about it, and you will never talk about it.
Do not deny your privilege. If you tell me that being cis heterosexual white man doesn't mean you haven't had it rough, I will tell you that you are wrong. What? How? I mean, like, what if? I mean, you don't know my backstory just based on the fact that I'm not even heterosexual. But if I was a cis heterosexual white man, which I'm two of those things, you don't get to tell me I haven't had it rough.
Yeah,
like, what if my parents were fucking alcoholics that molested me and put cigarettes out of my fucking forehead, and, you know, I was
pimped you out?
Yeah, you know, like, you don't know what the fuck I've been through, you son of a bitch. Or daughter of a bitch, or whatever the fuck you want to be called.
Yeah, isn't it, like, once again, I find myself, like, saying something I feel like doesn't even need to be said. Isn't it better to just not assume anything about anybody's fucking background until you know them and they've told you explicitly? Like, isn't that a better and more respectful way, not just to treat trans people, but to treat people? You don't know what the fuck somebody's been through. You can't walk a mile in their fucking shoes.
I also am not playing top trumps with you. Don't try to top my experience. You just, I mean, like, once again, several of the things you've said, including the last one, undercut that point.
Yep.
Not everything needs labels. Shut the fuck up, okay? You are fucking ridiculous. Intimacy can be even more complicated for some trans folks. Respect boundaries and ways people feel comfortable with nudity, tactile, whatever. Yeah, everyone deserves their own You know, consent and all that shit.
Yes.
Important. Find your own way to disrupt the cis world. There are so many ways to do this.
Oh man, what am I? I'm like a militia member by the end of this fucking shit.
Yeah, by the end of it, you're in their fucking army, dude.
You know what? You may not have realized it, TJ, but this list actually responded to itself. If you scroll back up to number 76 and read the last sentence of it,
sure,
it pretty much sums up how I feel about this list.
It doesn't work like that, I'm afraid.
That's pretty much it.
Oh man. Well, that's good stuff.
It's horrible stuff.
It's good stuff, bro.
Man, I hate living in this time when this is a common thing for people to try and do. People to try and look at how fucking far I had to sag down in my fucking chair.
Yeah, you're just sagging in defeat.
Oh god, man, I feel browbeaten.
Ugh.
Oh.
Well, here's Rick Wiles.
Oh, sweet.
Rick Wiles goes on anti-Semitic rant over The Hunt.
He found occasion to be an anti-Semite over The Hunt, huh?
Oh, well, let's actually look at this first. Okay. Universal pulls release of The Hunt following pressure from Trump and Fox News.
So now Trump gets to tell us what movies we can't see?
Yes. A controversy has erupted over Universal's decision to pull The Hunt, a horror satire in which wealthy elitists hunt so-called deplorables for sport after the film was attacked by conservatives, including President Donald Trump. Here's what I don't get. Aren't the liberals clearly the bad guys in this fucking movie?
It sounds like it, yeah.
Like, when I watched the trailer, I was led to believe that, like...
they're the evil ones.
Yeah, the quote-unquote deplorables are the fucking good guys and the victims in all this, and the liberal elitists that are hunting them for sport are the bad guys.
The sick psychopaths.
Yeah, who are portrayed negatively. So I don't understand why Trump and all the MAGAs are so pissed about this fucking movie.
I don't know.
Anyway, Universal's decision was made after Trump tweeted on Friday that liberal Hollywood is racist at the highest level, and with great anger and hate. They like to call themselves elite, but they are not elite. In fact, it is often the people that they strongly oppose that are actually the elite. The movie coming out is made in order to inflame and cause chaos. They create their own violence and then try to blame others. They are the true racists and are very bad for our country.
Wow. You back down in the face of that incoherent nonsense, babble, mush-mouth.
Yeah, Universal Pictures saw that tweet and were like, well, I guess the fact that the president just condemned our movie, that should be a huge fucking selling point for the movie, and it plastered in the marketing of the fucking movie.
Isn't liberal-ass Hollywood the source of a lot of this? We gotta stand up to Trump and fight Trump and beat him, but as soon as he tweets at you, you just throw away millions of dollars?
No, oh well.
Wow, way to practice what you preach, liberal Hollywood.
Pussies.
Release this fucking film. Quit letting, like, pearl clutchers and Puritans dictate what comes out, because I gotta be honest with you, your trailer for that movie was more interesting than 90% of the trailers that I've seen this year. I would have went and saw that shit in the theater. You lost my money and a bunch of other people's money on both sides of the aisle, because you know as well as I do, controversy sells. You know, if you release that movie, that just the fact that it was out there like a big canker sore in the middle of all the real-life violence going on in this country, people would have flocked to it.
In a statement on Saturday, the studio explained that while Universal Pictures had already paused the marketing campaign for The Hunt, after thoughtful consideration, the studio has decided to cancel our plans to release the film. We stand by our filmmakers, no you don't, and we'll continue to distribute films in partnership with bold and visionary creators, no you won't.
And you bury the work of your fucking partners, and I would be loath to sign any contract directing anything with any edge with Universal after this, and I think a lot of people will also feel the same way. Nobody wants to make an entire film and go through that grueling ass fucking heartbreaking process, only to have it buried because Trump made a tweet.
So there was considerable backlash on Twitter against Universal's decision. So here's Russell Crowe. So The Hunt is pulled from its U.S. cinema release because people are sensitive to gun violence, yet any adult can still buy military-grade semi-automatic rifle. While I commend Universal and Blumhouse for their humanity, this is not the solution. I don't commend them for shit. I think they're pieces of garbage.
Yeah, fuck commending them. I mean, he still wants a job with it, I guess.
I guess so. Rachel Leishman said, while the hunt got canceled, it's very clear that Trump has never read The Most Dangerous Game. So what? Trump hasn't read anything. Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. These are not... my angry reaction is, I wanted to see this fucking movie.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I wanted... You know, aren't these conservatives always yammering on about the free market, you know, and freedom of speech as well? And then the president comes out and says, this movie's bad, and it gets pulled, and all the fucking MAGA hats cheer because something they didn't like got deplatformed. Like, fuck you.
It wasn't even a fucking tweet that was obviously aimed at this movie either. It was incoherent. It was like, they make violence when they preach the violence, and they are the racists, not me or the racist. You know, it was just like total caveman speech. So it's almost like you accidentally thought that a tweet that Trump made might have been about you, so you threw a few $100 million in the trash. Cool. Yeah, great business.
Anyway, so here's Rick Wiles, and his apparently, I haven't heard it. I don't know if it's actually anti-Semitic. It probably is. Let's listen.
It's time to shut down Jewish Hollywood.
Yes, it is. Yes. There was not much. Yes. Okay, so we yes, it is. It is anti-Semitic. Good point. Yeah.
They're talking about murdering conservative, Christian, rural citizens in the...
They're talking about conservative, Christian, rural citizens rising up and killing a bunch of sick, depraved liberals that wanted to kill and hunt them. And winning in the end, you dumb fuck.
I mean, I don't know.
Republicans are the fucking heroes in this movie.
I don't know if they win. They might lose. I mean, it's a horror movie. But I mean, they're portrayed as the good guys. Is the fucking point?
They're definitely the people you're supposed to empathize with as you watch this film. So I don't understand. Are you guys really? Have you descended so far into stupitude that you don't know, like, when you're the fucking hero and when you're the villain anymore? Has it gotten that bad on the fucking Republican side of things?
Apparently.
In this country, that's no joke. The Jews of Hollywood spent tens of millions of dollars to produce that movie.
I mean, maybe
this is not a joke. This isn't satire.
It was all Jews.
Jews. It was all Jews.
All Jews.
From top to bottom. Jews, Jews, Jews.
Finance. Yeah.
They're sending a message. Get ready to kill conservatives. I don't know what to say to you people.
I mean, this guy has literally been on this kick long before this movie and was saying that Obama was going to send out death squads to people's houses and shit. Like, he's constantly fear-mongering about this day when the liberals or the Jews or whoever is going to go on the big conservative fucking killing spree. Forgetting the fact that, hey, conservative America, you got all the guns, bitch.
Yeah, when's it going to happen?
No one wants to fucking do that. No one wants to go to rural Hickville and try to kill all the conservatives when each and every one of those stupid motherfuckers has got a gun. I mean, isn't that kind of the point of you guys having those guns to begin with? Is to protect yourself from shit like that happening? So you got all the guns. So you still don't feel safe?
They're not even safe when they're the heroes of the story.
Because if someone made a movie. Oh my God, a movie happened. Oh no.
Aren't you guys on the other side when liberals cry foul about a movie being too violent? Oh, the pussies knew, let the movie be fucking good again. But when one's like, this one is even like, you shouldn't even be offended.
It doesn't even make sense.
MAGA people are the heroes of that movie. They're gonna kick liberal ass all through it.
Anymore. I've been trying to warn the people what's coming. I've been trying for years, and I'm being as open as I can.
You said it was going to happen under Obama, and he's literally not even in office anymore.
Honestly, he's old enough. I bet he was saying it during fucking,
probably
Bush.
Jews are plotting a Jacobin revolution in this country. If that hasn't convinced you, what will it take?
If the fact that a movie was made doesn't convince you what's going on.
If this 1 minute of incoherent babble about the Jew conspiracy hasn't convinced you, then what's it gonna take?
I don't know, maybe some actual evidence of what you're fucking saying,
some
dipshit.
Tangible, demonstrable evidence of anything that you just said would certainly be helpful if you could provide it.
Next year when they're shooting you, are you...
Next year, okay, it's next year.
Next year.
Next year it's happening.
What's gonna happen when next year they're not shooting us, sir?
I don't know.
Jew uprising doesn't happen next year, then what's going to be the excuse?
I meant year after next.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Next lunar year.
Yeah. you know.
You're going to say, they told us they were going to do this. This is a Jacobin revolution.
That's another good point. If you were the Jews and you're plotting this big, like, all right, it's time to kill all the conservatives, would you really give them a movie beforehand? Like, laying it all out to them?
No.
Like, okay, prepare yourselves. Yeah, it's like, hey, it's like if you're trying to murder someone and you give them a call and it's like, hey, I'm coming to your house to murder you, so be sure to, you know, get your defenses going and shit.
I mean, I saw that trailer. And it was literally, there was a line in it, and I'm paraphrasing, where she's like, we're going to show them that they messed with the wrong people or whatever. You know, they're all banding together. So, like, what it looks like is going to happen is that, yeah, some people are going to get picked off, but then a group of these fucking MAGA people are going to fucking band together and turn the machine against the liberals. So you're, like, pretty offended, and I don't know, dude. I don't even know how to go past that, honestly. This shouldn't be a problem. They should be actually cheering that there's a movie that portrays MAGA people as anything other than total fucking doofuses. Because literally, that's all you get out of Hollywood. So Hollywood makes a movie with deep characters that are MAGA people, central to the film, portrayed as the heroes, portrayed as the people that are actually level-headed in comparison to the other people, and you have a problem with it?
And then us, the fucking, the liberals, are watching this same trailer and being like, hey, it's saying we're all a bunch of killers that are gonna fucking round MAGA people up and kill them.
Like, no,
cool.
It's a movie.
Cool concept. Like, and who's the fucking snowflake in this equation, huh?
Yeah. Who sounds like the baby that can't take a fucking movie? I mean, come on, dude. How many times have liberals been portrayed as latte-sipping, empty-headed, bubble-headed things in fucking media and movies?
Tons.
Do I cry about it?
Yeah.
Constantly, right?
Deep,
You know that's a
throughout the night, I just hear Paul howling in his fucking room.
Why
do they make fun of liberals? Ah!
Wear thick-rimmed glasses and wear sip lattes. Oh, God. Liberals aren't like that. Yeah. I worry so much about that shit.
Oh, me too.
French Revolution, which is coming to America very, very soon. And rich, powerful Jews are telling you to your face, we're going to hunt you down.
So what are you advocating for here then? If they're going to hunt you, doesn't that mean that you should hunt them before they hunt you? So are you advocating your people to go out and hunt Jews before the uprising happens? Like, how do you propose we stop it? I just don't understand. Like, what's supposed to be happening here? What's the end result? I get it. Okay, let's say I buy what you're selling. The Jews is coming.
The Jews, they're coming. They're coming for you.
What do you mean I'm supposed to do?
Obviously, you better come for the Jews before the Jews come for yous.
So isn't it you that's inciting fucking crazy people to act crazy?
He never said that, Paul. He never said that. He never said that.
We said, Doc, they'll make sure that the Trump voters never do it again.
Right.
I've been mocked for years for warning that this revolution is coming. I didn't make that movie.
Yes, you're not. It's not going to stop now. I don't know what this like. I don't know if you're under the delusion that this is like your big redemption moment where people start taking you seriously. Try again, bitch.
Yeah, we've only really been aware of you for like a year or so. So the mockery has just begun. If you plan to stick around for any length of time.
The Jews in Hollywood made that movie.
That's right.
It wasn't made by Presbyterians. It wasn't made by Roman Catholics. It wasn't made by Methodists. It was made by elite rich Jews who hate Christians.
Okay. Good stuff, brah. Real rich. I love it.
Man.
Damn Jews.
Yeah, the Jews.
They done it. It was all them. It was all them Jews.
I don't understand it, man.
I don't either.
Do you understand the Jew hate perpetuating? Because, like, isn't it strange that it's always kind of been that way, too?
Yeah.
There's something about the Jews that some little tiny subset of humanity just hates, and they think they're responsible for everything. You know what I mean? I never fucking understood it, dude. Like, Jews are pretty awesome, in my experience. I don't know. I assume there's a lot of Jew assholes out there, too. I haven't run into a bunch, but I haven't run into a bunch of Jews. There's not a lot of Jews around. What's the problem?
You can thank Hitler for that.
It's like being pissed off at the Eskimos. It's like your crusade against the Eskimos, TJ.
Hey, hold on. Hold on now. Hold on.
When's the last time you saw an Eskimo or had to hear the voice of an Eskimo?
Yeah, you don't really see them because they're always behind the scenes, pulling the strings and shit.
Oh, I see.
You know, look, hey, I mean, everyone out there knows the fucking Eskimo. We gotta fucking do something about the Eskimo scourge before they do something about us, Paul. I mean, you lay your bet. You mean to tell me, let's just say you're walking down the street. You fucking look in front of you, you see some fucking parka wearing goddamn Eskimo with a spear or something. You're gonna fucking cross the street. You ain't gonna fucking walk past that Eskimo, Paul. You'd be scared, Paul, because you know. You can sit here and talk all this shit about, oh, well, Eskimos ain't no big deal. But if you saw a fucking Eskimo just standing around, fucking eating some whale blubber and shit.
I'm smiling at the thought of it. Eskimos have the opposite effect on me, TJ. I'm filled with mirth and joy when I see an Eskimo in his parka.
That sickens me to the core of my being, Paul. You know, I think you're just ignorant of what Eskimos truly are and what their real agenda is if you feel that way. I don't think you really understand what you're saying, Paul.
They're great people.
No, they're not. They're not even, I mean, look, the first problem with that sentence is the word great. The second problem is the word people, because Eskimos, they're not people.
Oh.
They're certainly not great people.
Wow, that's racist. That's horrifyingly racist.
It's not racist, because they'd have to be human for it to be racist.
Oh my God.
And Eskimos are not human beings. They're disgusting, ice-chucking pieces of shit who are trying to bring down our fucking great society. And we all understand that. I hope everyone understands fucking satire out there. I think they do.
Yeah, I think you have to append it, though.
I do. I really feel like I have to say that I'm joking when I fucking say that I think Eskimos are trying to take down.
Really is dead.
It is. Everything has to have a fucking disclaimer.
They killed it.
Yeah, I mean, when we get to the point where the president can cancel movies, I guess anything can happen. Former atheists share what made them convert. This is a. This is
show the concept of this. I see why you avoid it for so long. It's like a torture cavalcade. It just gets worse.
Uh-huh.
Oh God. I gotta tell you, TJ.
Yeah, what's up?
You and I kind of cooked in the stew of that early fucking YouTube atheist-theist great debate community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sprung up.
Sure.
So the people I hated the most were these people. I hated I used to be an atheist, but then something done happened that made my brain...
Well, you know what? Imagine that. Okay, so imagine that read by an obnoxious computer voice.
No.
For 15 minutes.
No! No!
A man who came and showed unconditional love for people, and instead of hating sluts and gays, he actually rebuked the religious people who judge sinners. Atheists who later became religious. What made you convert? I was an agnostic atheist, essentially an atheist but not dismissively so, for most of my life. I suffered from depression for many reasons, related to childhood trauma and losing family members. It manifested in these semi-regular nightmares about dying. When I started my programming career at 28, I met a coworker who was a devout Christian. I had the same Christians are obnoxious and preachy and wrong view that much of the internet has, but he seemed pretty intelligent and thoughtful, so I started talking to him about it. He told me if I wanted to learn more, to read the book of John with an open mind.
So
I did.
The Bronze Age fairy tale that I once discarded as total fucking nonsense and fiction and got suckered by some stupid vague passage about it.
There were some positive feelings,
Paul.
even if it seemed otherwise unbelievable or falsified.
All right, fair enough.
He asked if I wanted to come to church with him, saying that I should give it 3 chances.
3 chances,
I reluctantly
Paul.
agreed. One a few
Like the fucking curse of fucking Khazad-dûm or whatever. You have to have weave the fucking rope around thee thrice. What is this? I'm gonna go 3 times to know if something sucks.
Check it out, though.
times, thought it seemed interesting but weird. During this time, I prayed 3 times for things. They produced results that could be explained away, but very specific nonetheless. I felt pretty positive about the whole experience. After the 3rd time, he said that I knew enough, asked me if I wanted to accept Jesus. I was going to say no and then felt this overwhelming feeling. Powerful, external, commanding. I later found out that this was known as conviction, which is often used by God. I wasn't able to speak, but I agreed and then hobbled to the front, barely able to walk.
What, did God fuck you in the ass?
Huge psychological appeal that he made to you that made you fucking feel that way. He, like, you realized at one moment that it wasn't just what it used to be to you. And this is assuming that this is true and not just Christian propaganda.
Which it probably is.
Which it probably is. So much of this shit, when you read it online, is some Christian dude that never was an atheist making up what he thinks an atheist conversion story would look like. As you can imagine, it's pretty fucking rare for people that are avowed atheists that understand what that means to go the other direction for reasons that I shouldn't have to go into. But let's just say that it did happen. So he went to this church, he kind of liked it, he liked the community, he liked this friend a lot, he thought the friend was interesting, he'd seen some positivity after he prayed, and then he realized, his friend says, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to be one of these or not? And all of a sudden, you realize what a giant psychological question that was. It's like, holy shit, do I want to change my whole fucking life, join this whole group of people, devote myself to this way of thinking that I previously, you know what I mean? Of course you're going to feel like, oh, like that has to be God poking you with his fucking finger?
No, it can't just be situational awareness of the massive undertaking that's being expected of you.
Right.
No, it has to be God.
It's a totally different thing. Yeah, no, it's God.
That night, I knew that any faith I may have gained would be destroyed by my nightmares. When I felt the melancholy start forcing itself on me, it vanished, replaced by a strong feeling of warmth and love.
Warmth.
It was amazing. I fell asleep easily that night and have never had another nightmare. I don't trust other Christians, for the most part, because I don't trust people. I am incredibly skeptical about a great number of things.
Wait. The Bible, wait a minute, so you're a Christian, you don't trust other Christians?
Yeah.
I mean, the Bible explicitly tells you to do that, though.
Right, you might want to read more than just that one passage in the Bible.
But I am a firm believer in the God of Abraham and the Savior Jesus now. I've had a few other experiences that have helped build my faith, but I will never forget the start. The tipping.
All right, so basically, I was emotionally manipulated until...
At a vulnerable time in my life when I was really insecure and scared about the direction my life was going, somebody came along and suckered me into a cult.
Yep.
Cool.
Point to me was realizing that my life and pretty much everyone else's life around me was a complete mess, when compared to my then girlfriend, now wife's very committed Catholic family. I mean, everything was the exact opposite of all I had ever seen. Their lives just worked. There was structure. There was love. Everyone respected each other. They were super smart. They were all graduated at top universities with top careers. They didn't brag about their accomplishments nor treated others like...
Hold up. Did you have like a camera on their lives, or did you just see what they wanted? Because let me tell you something about Christians. They are really super adept at showing people that are guests in their home exactly what they want to be seen. They present very well. I'm not saying that all Christian households are chaos behind the scenes. I'm just saying you can't assume anything that goes on in a family house when the lights are off and shit.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's super important to, I mean, look, I was raised in the South. I had a lot of friends that were super religious families and shit. And I know for a fact that, like, keeping up appearances is a huge part of that.
Absolutely.
The house has got to be spotless. Everything's got to be fucking,
It's got to be perfectly behaved.
Right.
Food has got to be scrumptious.
But that's when other people are watching, when no one...
Doesn't really mean it's that way on a Tuesday night.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like that YouTube bitch that as soon as she doesn't think the camera's rolling anymore is beating her fucking dog that she claims to love,
And there are people that are not Christian, by the way, that present very outwardly as if everything is fine. I mean, not to make it too super personal, but people in my family and friends group were blown away when me and my ex-wife broke up, because outwardly we presented as a very happy-go-lucky couple, and things were not that way behind the scenes, and nobody knew it. And it's that way in a ton of households. So to assume that just because when you went over there the kids were all smiling, or because they all got degrees, how do you know they didn't all get degrees at great universities because their parents were like taskmasters that drilled them endlessly and never let them fail at anything and made their lives a living hell if they didn't score well on tests?
Like inferiors. They were super patient with me, despite of my initial arrogance and hostility due to the fact that they were Catholic, which by
that's another thing. I've eaten across the table from devoutly Catholic fucking people.
It's because this is not written by someone who is actually an atheist.
Right.
Because very few people, I mean, I can't obviously speak for all atheists, but I mean, like, of the people I've known who are atheists, I can't think of anyone who would sit across the table from a Christian and fucking break bread with them and be like, you know, your fucking religion is pretty stupid, bro.
Hey, could you pass that delicious casserole and tell me why Jesus is the stupidest idea that's ever been? I mean, really, you people are retards. Oh, thank you very much. Pass the peel off, please. You stupid motherfuckers, man. Wow, what a Bronze Age fairy tale. Hey, gravy, yeah, a little extra gravy. Thank you so much, you dumb fuck. Like, is that how you are?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, there's no, like, what's this arrogance and hostility bullshit? I mean, look, when me and Paul are sitting here talking amongst ourselves, and it's optional, and anybody who wants to watch it can, and anyone who doesn't want to watch it can't, we talk in a different manner.
Of course.
But when we're around other people, you know, I mean, sure, you know, there comes like a social point where you feel comfortable maybe having a discussion or debate about something. But just like we're sitting around, you know, eating a nice meal or some shit, we're not fucking breaking out with the, you know, your religion is stupid. We're not even fucking, it's not even crossing our goddamn minds at that fucking point.
Primarily, and then talk to you in that order. And the last thing I want is disharmony or shit at the table.
I mean, I don't even fucking give a shit. I'll even fucking have a moment of, like, they want to pray or something. I'll like, all right, I'll fucking respect that. I'll have a moment of silent, secular contemplation.
Right.
I don't give a shit.
As long as I'm not forced to participate in any way, I don't care.
Right. If it gets to the point where they're like, you need to pray with us, I'd be like, fuck you, no.
Did I ever tell that story about one of my little niece's birthdays that happened one year? And it was fucking crazy.
I don't know. Maybe.
We went to a Red Lobster.
Uh-huh.
And the whole family
I think you did
there.
tell this, but
Yeah.
go ahead and tell it again.
Just briefly. Went to a Red Lobster. The whole family that was there, except for me, was, you know, religious. And, they sang, they prayed, which I was fine with. I just did my whole, like, okay, I'll just sit here for a minute. And then they sang a fucking song. Like, literally everybody in the Red Lobster was staring at us. So it was almost like I felt at that point that I had been forced to participate in something. Because I'm sitting at that table, and there's this very obviously Christian song erupting forth from it. And I'm saying, what am I supposed to do? Get up and run out? Or stand on the periphery? Like, at this point, like, how do I silently protest your... It's like, kind of felt like wrangled into it, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't given the option to fucking...
Not only that, but it's like, I mean, like, at that point, the whole restaurant is looking at you like you are amongst them, you know?
And what am I supposed to do then? Go, like, at the end of the song, should I go, like, by the way, I would like to express my objection to all of the things that were just sung. I'm an atheist. Like, it just... You don't have to do that for your Christianity, you know what I mean? So quit asking for me what you wouldn't give.
I then seemed the only thing unacceptable about them in my perspective, but above all their life was simple. Simple and meaningful. Just work hard, pray a lot, stay around your family, be happy.
For me, those first three things and that last thing gonna come into some strong conflict. Like, if I was gonna work hard, pray a lot, and stay around my family constantly, I'm pretty sure I would be fucking miserable. So you want me to do those first three things? I mean, well, fuck you and fuck no. But to ask me to do those first three things and be happy while doing it, especially fuck you, because that's not even possible.
It worked. In retrospective, it is actually very funny to remember, but my initial thought was, wow, this girl and her family are awesome. I just wish they weren't so religious. I guess I will have to convince them otherwise. Well, it turns out their faith was the #1 explanation for everything else, and one day it just clicked. It felt like I had lifted 1,000 pounds from my shoulders. Suddenly things started making sense and my own life started working.
Suddenly all my fucking, like, you know, worry and care and knowledge that life is like a meat grinder and doesn't really care about anything just got a veil thrown over it.
Oh, listen to this next paragraph. The next paragraph literally begins literally like magic.
Yeah, which you, like, if you even started from an atheistic perspective, you wouldn't even use as a reference point when talking about something that is literally like magic.
Literally like magic, lifelong unresolved issues were resolved with no effort.
Oh, that sounds
no effort. No effort.
Right?
Then I knew there was something special going on. I converted, and man, I am never looking back to my old
Literally
life
like
ever.
magic, lifelong unresolved issues were resolved with no effort. Then I knew there was something special going on. I converted and man.
Because that's what Christianity is all about. You know, the religion about the guy who sacrificed everything to save others is all about just easy answers and no effort, right?
Yep.
That's the true essence of Christianity.
Yep.
I am never looking back to my old life ever.
By the way, didn't you just say to work hard like a few paragraphs ago?
Yeah,
that kind of contradicts the whole no effort thing.
If all I gotta do is convert to get all my lifelong unresolved issues just lifted like magic, then what the fuck am I working for?
I never believed in God. My parents were Catholic, meaning they went to church on holidays and made my brother and I go to Sunday school because it was tradition, not because they really believed.
I don't know.
Sounds like something that would play before a funeral procession starts.
Well, it feels like a brain cell funeral, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I was the class smart guy and thought that I knew everything.
Must have been a pretty shitty class.
I didn't want to be in Sunday school, so I would always question the teachers, and oftentimes just be plain rude to them.
Once again,
When it
where is it this trope of the rude atheist comes? Why do all the rude atheists go on to convert? When have you ever been
maybe because they
somebody in public?
Maybe it's because maybe it's because they realize like, ooh, if I'm a Christian, then my rudeness is just codified in culture.
Right.
It came time for the sacrament.
Because it's totally acceptable for me to go up to someone. Like, I had a Christian one time come up to me when I was eating dinner with some people. And they came up to me and they were like, you know, hey, you know, you're an amazing atheist, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, before they knew it, they're trying to have this big theological debate with me. I'm like, I'm here to eat pizza with my friends, man. I'm not looking to have this fucking debate with you. I'd never do this to you. I'd never see you and your fucking Christian pals and be like, hey, ain't you the crazy Christian? You know, let me proselytize fucking atheism to you when you're trying to eat.
Right.
Like, that doesn't happen. So, this idea of this stereotype of the rude atheist, which obviously people like you and I have probably contributed to, but it's like, you got to realize context here. There's a different context between I'm making a video to some people.
Dude, I don't think I'm a rude person.
No, I don't.
I might say things that people consider rude on the show that we.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is we fucking might do that for entertainment's sake or something.
When I'm out in public, I'm not a rude person. I hold the door for people that need help. I fucking help old ladies with their groceries and shit. I'm a fucking nice guy. So fuck you. I've never once inserted myself into the life of a Christian to try and proselytize them over to my fucking side of thinking. Out in public or otherwise, honestly. There's nothing to proselytize for when you're an atheist. There's no dogma. There's no ritual. There's no thing you have to say or magical thing you have to do to be an atheist. You just go, oh yeah, I'm an atheist. It's bullshit.
Oh, I don't believe in that shit.
Yeah, that's the only conversion necessary, and I don't bother trying to help people through it, so I have no analog with you.
Sacrament of confirmation I refused. My parents insisted that I get it done because it was my grandmother's wishes, but I told them that I could not take the sacrament and it would be wrong to force someone who didn't believe in God. They agreed, and that was the last time I went to church for a long time. I'm grateful to have parents who understood that. I was depressed just about as long as I can remember. Although I always...
Why do these all sound like the same thing?
Because they are. I was down and I was low and life sucked, and then I met this Christian who really had his shit together, and I went to church and I became a good Christian and all my problems were solved. The end.
Bye-bye. Wow, it sounds like it sounds like there's a template somewhere in a Christian book. People are just filling it out with different fucking, writing.
Change a few details here and there, and you got your big atheist conversion story.
I was an atheist. I was always rude to Christians. When they would fall down, I would say, ha, 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 Christ punch, and I would kick them. But then I met a person that was a Christian, and they weren't dumb like all the other Christians were. They were actually hella smart, and I listened to them. And then they asked, you want to come to church? And I was like, nah, at first. But then I thought about it, and I was like, why not? So I went, and I actually felt better afterwards. And then I prayed one time, and some magical things happened. I know you won't believe me, but trust me, it's true. And then I became a Christian. And then I want you to become a Christian. Goodbye. Story number 2. I was an atheist.
It's the same.
I was actually hella rude. It's just fuck.
All right, next one. This is also an atheist thing.
Oh,
becoming an atheist is like having a midlife crisis.
Oh, God.
You were an atheist.
I know. It's like the classic TJ motif. Stole my shit.
I am not. That's how this thing works. We will not debate about the existence of God because that's boring. Can't prove that God doesn't exist. Can't prove he does in this moment. Can't do that. Not interested in do that. Instead, here's what I want to talk about. I want to basically say out loud how I imagine atheists must feel once they have this epiphany in their minds that the God that they believed in was all make believe and not real.
Okay, can you pause that?
Yeah.
I didn't have that. Did you have that?
No.
I didn't have this like aha moment where it was like, the God that I actually totally believed in is wrong. You know, it didn't work that way. So I'll answer that question for you right away.
For me, that didn't happen either.
I mean, I called myself a Christian, but I never really believed in it.
Yeah, and I never even went as far as to call myself that shit.
I never prayed. I just called myself that because my family called themselves that. I thought everybody was that. As soon as I understood that there were people that weren't that, I was like, oh, I'm with them.
Me too.
Begin with. Here's what I'm going to compare it to.
Okay.
Me, being 38 years old, I'm at a point where this is my midlife crisis. Let me explain.
I don't know. Do I need the concept of the midlife crisis? Like whisper explain to me?
Am I your fucking psychologist now to explain something to me? Like, why do I gotta listen to your problems?
Once you get to a certain age, probably around my age, all that you've done in your career finally starts paying off. And suddenly, you're making more money than you ever have before. And
humble brag, humble brag.
And
look at my Jeep.
For me personally, to be in that situation,
so if my career wasn't paying off, I totally wouldn't be standing in front of a Jeep.
Causes sort of an identity crisis of sorts, because I'm like, all this hard work is finally paying off.
Was all this masturbation is paying off?
All this hard
Why'd you make a jerk off motion?
And now I don't have to worry about money like I used to worry about money. But now that I'm making this money, I need to start investing in my retirement and kids' college and all that stuff. And so then you have a new set of goals and problems.
Think about how much more money you'd have floating around in your pocket to buy Jeeps and shit if you hadn't procreated. I'm not trying to say that's for everybody, but if you're just now starting to worry about putting your money away for retirement at 38, you got problems.
So this carrot that you were chasing, well, now you've got a whole bucket of carrots. You don't need that carrot anymore, but now you got to figure out what to do with this bucket of carrots.
I'm sorry, what's happening? What does this have to do with atheism again? Okay, cool.
This Jeep I got for my 30th
He just pointed it out.
in April. I've wanted it as long as I've been working, and I finally was able to get this Jeep that I've always wanted. I obtained my goal.
Who the fuck even cares?
And it's funny because I feel that it definitely symbolizes where I am in my mind. This thing
2 minutes.
Got mud tires on it. It's a 6-speed manual transmission.
And now about the Jeep.
Mud and
my Jeep's cool, bruh.
And
what does this have to do with atheism
again? I feel like it's kind of the antithesis of where I'm at. I'm in a very comfortable place in life. My life is determined to figure it out. I'm grateful for all I have. But it's almost like it takes the struggle away. It almost, in some ways, takes the purpose away when everything you could imagine that you really want, you have.
Okay, you ain't so rich that all your fucking anything I want, I got.
It's like he's broadcasting for extra pussy on the side or something. It's almost like, at this point in my life, I'm 38, I'm in the best shape of my life, my cock looks bigger than ever, I just got so much money coming out of my ears, I can't stop spending it.
If anything, my only problem is just that life is too good.
Yeah, it's thrown too much opportunity at me. I'm going to too many cool clubs, I'm jet-setting too many places around the world, I'm seeing too many beautiful women all the time, you know? It's like, what is this video?
I don't know. It's called Becoming an Atheist is like having a midlife crisis. I don't know.
And I predict that atheists sort of go through the opposite of that in some ways. That everything that they had believed their whole life about God and heaven and hell and all these things, when that's suddenly taken away from you, then it puts you in this sort of
It fled because it was a dingy, dull, retarded, undefensible, inscrutable, old, dusty, crusty, musty Bronze Age fucking belief, and I was better for discarding it. It wasn't ripped from me by any evil force. I was like, one day, like, the Jesus was just like, oh, no! You know what I mean? What the fuck is this?
Now go to the wastes with the other atheists.
My brain.
Try to eke out a survival in the barren wasteland, atheist pig.
My brain, honestly, you know what did it? Dude, I'll tell you exactly what did it. The story of Noah's Ark. My adult brain did some quick calculations on Noah's Ark. It was like, total horseshit. If that's horseshit, the whole thing is horseshit. Let's just be done with it.
I mean, for me, it was just like, I didn't even, look, when I was a little kid, I was just like, no one really believes this. This is like Santa, Easter Bunny. This is like something they tell kids. I thought it was the same thing. I thought it was like, they tell kids there's a God.
Right.
But they don't really believe it as adults. I thought it was like Santa and the Easter Bunny and shit. So, like, when I told my mom I was an atheist, I had to ask what the word was. Like, Mom, what's people who don't believe in God called? She's like, atheist. I'm an atheist. You know? I thought, the reaction I was expecting is like, good job, son. You saw through the bullshit yet again. Because she was always kind of proud when I saw through the bullshit. I'm like, oh, shit.
But
I guess that people actually believe in this shit. So I was just incredulous. So it was never anything that was like, oh, I have this sacred thing that's such an important part of me. Ah, it's been ripped away. Ah, cynical world. Never happened. Never happened.
ISIS of, well, then what's my purpose? Why am I here? What do I do? And of course, we've mentioned atheists are more likely to commit suicide. And I can understand that when suddenly everything you believe in.
Maybe it's because they're not scared away from the concept of suicide by the concept of hell. Because Christians are constantly told, don't commit suicide. It's not going to end your suffering. You're just going to go to hell and burn forever.
I mean, those two, the concepts of heaven and hell are what kept me calling myself a Christian through my childhood.
Right, because you're constantly...
You as a kid, you're told this is the way it is. If you're bad, you're going to fucking roast forever.
Yeah.
You go, okay.
Oh, shit. Better not do that.
Yeah, then you get old enough to read and think, and then it just kind of...
Oh.
Discard that. I don't need that anymore.
That's a useless idea.
None of it was real. Of course, that's your belief, not mine, by the way. But I think it's...
Did you really just have to remind me of what I believe versus what you believe?
By the way, this is my Jeep, not yours.
Oh, okay. Good to know. So I can't go tool around in that?
Still relates to a midlife crisis.
Not until you're as successful as me, TJ.
And again, that basically everything I worked so hard for.
You're 38, TJ?
What's that?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm 39 now, but by 38, oh my God, I can buy whatever I want. I live in opulence. You've been to my palazzo.
Oh, yeah.
You've been to my palazzo.
Yeah, it's like...
I don't mean to brag.
No limit.
But the helipad alone, when they told me that they could put diamonds over the like landing lights for the helipad instead of normal glass, I was in a position where I was able to go like, yeah, give me all diamond everything. I want a diamond. So you've seen it. I mean,
yeah.
You wrote in on the diamond copy.
Right, that's true. I did.
I mean, I'm not trying
I got it.
No, of course not. No.
I just, all my dreams are achieved. You've seen me in the blowjob hot tub.
Yeah.
Which I keep stocked constantly with attractive people.
Absolutely.
Immediately hoover my dick and balls as soon as I let
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Best.
I've achieved.
Yeah, you certainly have, Paul. Let's have a big round of applause for Paul.
Yeah. Thank you.
In this life, and my life's literally, I'm double my age now. Will be what, 74? That's
Look at him.
Oh, wow.
Braggart.
I know, man. Isn't there something in Christianity about like humility? Is that a thing anymore?
Fucking braggart, man.
the average age of the lifespan of a man in Tennessee.
Can I ask you a question as a Christian? Why do you think that God thinks that you're better served at the absolutely, obviously indulgent purchase of that overly fucking expensive Jeep that I guarantee you've never taken off-road? So you don't even use it for... Why would that money have not been better spent on the homeless, the people in need, clothing the naked, feeding the hungry, giving help to the helpless? Huh?
Because that's a bummer, dude.
Isn't that a core tenet of Christianity, or was it explained incorrectly to me?
I guess so.
Oh no. Here's what Jesus said. A rich man should stand on high and proclaim all of his wealth over his underlings to show what following me brings to him. Isn't that what he said? Or didn't he say something about your ass needing to crawl through the eye of a fucking needle rather than get into the kingdom of heaven? If you're rich, you better start getting poor, motherfucker! Sell that webcam, sell the computer, sell that stupid fucking penis extension Jeep behind you, and become a monk! Because if you don't, you're gonna burn!
Does that symbolize this whole concept of the video, the light suddenly turning off?
No, it doesn't. It symbolizes that a light turned off.
Yeah, it symbolizes that you've got
Wow,
the same
this was real
garage light that
begin with.
everybody does.
But,
It goes off in stages so
you
that
know,
you don't.
I'm always
stop
looking
the dark
for
when
ways
you're on the
that
phone when you get
atheists
home.
can actually agree with me. I'm never interested in what we don't agree with. I'm never interested in debating. It's so boring and pointless. But I make this video just to ask you, honestly.
All right, ask me.
Can you see where I'm saying, though?
No, I can't. I think this video, as we've pointed out numerous times at this point, was clearly made to aggrandize yourself.
Yes.
And has virtually nothing to do with the stated subject matter of atheism.
No, this is a big penis stroke fest for you, so you can show off all your expensive toys and brag about how your fucking career is the greatest.
And by the way, the fact that you bought a Jeep 8 fucking years ago is not impressive to anybody but you.
No, I think he actually just bought it. I think I misheard that. He said his 38th birthday.
Oh, okay.
He's finally able to get it.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So, okay, well, good for you. You got a Jeep. For most people, the bar is a little higher in life than, like, I mean, look, the fact that you have a Jeep is fine and all, and that's good, and we're happy for you and your fine Jeep.
I'm not.
But
fuck him. I'm not happy for him. I don't know this motherfucker.
I'm happy for him, Paul.
I know what he makes his
You know what?
fucking money doing.
I'm happy for him, Paul. I hope that he makes his money strangling orphans on the street.
Spreading this bullshit misinformation.
Oh, I guarantee he ain't.
Fat dick.
He ain't getting paid for this. No one's watching this shit. This has 221 views.
It's about to have more.
Yeah, because of me. So it's just the God gives to him yet again.
Yeah. God giveth and God taketh away. Who's your God now? How many fucking views
For
did
people
God
who were,
distribute on your channel before fucking
raised in a religious home, believing in God, believing in Christianity, then they become adults and they stop believing.
Cool.
They think, man, I
mean, a dynamic personality like him, it's amazing. He's yet to be discovered.
He's gonna relaunch his Whispers Garage.
Is this the real life Whispers McMillan?
Yeah, it is, dude. It's Whispers McMillan. We finally meet. Whispers McMillan. I've known you so long. Why are you in your garage whispering, dude?
My life was spent on that thing, and that thing wasn't even real. That thing doesn't even matter. So again, going to me, where I am in Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid, once you get to the top, then it doesn't.
You're not at the top of the hierarchy of fucking needs. You're not Kanye, bitch.
Yeah, this dude is a basic.
You ain't Warren Buffett. You ain't Jeff Bezos.
What? How's he got that Jeep then?
Oh yeah,
Buffett money Jeep.
that's the fucking, that Jeep cost $500 billion.
That's an upper middle class dad having a fucking midlife crisis Jeep level. Kanye would if Kanye called a car and that Jeep brand new pulled up, he would send it back and have a real car sent to him.
Necessarily mean that you're happier now. It just means that you reach your goals, and now you're going to have a new set of problems. And maybe they're not as physical, maybe they're not financial, but they're more about the identity and like that much more. Like, so what's my purpose now? I think that atheists can very much relate to that, and I can only imagine what it would be like to be an atheist who's having a midlife crisis and just became an atheist. Like, you became an atheist right as you have a midlife crisis.
What are you?
This is a bad
What are you fucking talking about?
mush mouth nonsense, fucking diuretic, fucking bowl of fucking shit that needs to be flushed. Oh my god, you suck. Your life sucks. Your Jeep sucks. Your fucking kids suck. They're probably stupid and everybody probably hates them. Your wife's is probably a bitch and she'll probably leave you in a couple of years for a studly fucking younger dude. It's over for you, man. You peaked at Jeep? God damn, dude. That must feel like shit.
Oh, Paul, don't be so mean, man.
I'm sorry.
Don't be so mean. He's not being
talking to me like I'm a little baby kid telling me how my atheism is and shit. And I had to listen to the fucking, how many minutes of this motherfucker bragging? He can listen to me thump my chest a little bit too.
Paul, don't be mean, man. He's a nice guy, dude. He's
whatever. He might be a nice guy. And
he's
yeah,
Whispers
I wouldn't
McMillan,
turn
dude.
down a free Jeep. But come on, bro. There's gotta be. You didn't peak at childbearing? Like your kids aren't your peak? No, it was the Jeep.
The Jeep.
All the shit I got. Wow, I bet your kids were real well taken care of.
Christianity is super materialistic like that, so.
Instill in them that fucking completely non-Christian idea of hyper-capitalistic exploitation, my friend. Yeah, go out there and slit as many throats as you have to slit to get your Jeep, girls, and then fucking just kick back and sip the fucking martini of life until you croak. The wise fucking parent you must be. You know how sick your children are of hearing you do this exact same thing to them? You know, kids, I never did think that at 38 I'd have the Jeep I always dreamed of.
I can just see the kids rolling their eyes.
Oh my God, dude, as soon as they go to their room, they're like, oh my God, I fucking hate Dad's Jeep. I want to hit it with a fucking bat. This is the stupidest, ugliest Jeep I've ever seen. They hate you, and they hate the Jeep, and if they don't, they soon will. Oh, man.
Oh, beautiful. Sorry, guy.
I wish the best on you, Whispers McMillan.
Yeah, good on you, Whispers.
At one point you can speak in a full voice in your own fucking garage. Then you'll reach the top of Maslow's.
We've reached, yeah, you haven't reached that need yet. You've reached Jeep need.
Yeah.
You haven't reached.
Whisper in your own garage, though.
You haven't
reached. Whatever you want, you just
gotta keep it down. Keep it to a dull roar, Anthony. Quiet. Girls around. If you wake the girls up, you're gonna deal with it, Anthony. You whisper. You whisper McMillan, Anthony. You keep your voice down.
Yeah, you need to get you're still scrabbling for the top of the pyramid if that's your problem.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's just how he talks, bro. Maybe he used to work for NPR or something.
I guess so.
Anyway, here's that time Dusty fucking took us all on, man.
Oh, he took us all on?
Yeah, remember that?
When was this?
It was on the Drunken Peasants Days.
Oh, okay.
This is called That Time Dusty. This is Dusty's own channel. That Time Dusty debated the Drunken Peasants 3-on-1 about Trump.
Okay.
I don't really remember it much either.
Yeah, let's talk about TJ.
So,
he's so great.
You guys remember 3 years ago when I came out against the skeptic community and I pointed out how Trump was going to be?
Yeah, what about Paul?
What about
Paul sells the Morris t-shirts and stuff.
I don't claim to be the biggest name, but like if you're gonna talk about the Drunken Peasants in your headline, why do you lead with TJ? Oh, you want that extra TJ view, don't you?
A horrific fucking president.
I don't even know if it's
and
that.
we
If it's
done
worth
everything
that
we could
anymore.
to stop him being president, and I got shit on real bad. Like people like TJ and the Drunken Peasants back when TJ and Paul's ego and TJ's brother used to be on the Drunken Peasants. They made multiple videos.
Hey, TJ's brother, have you heard the news?
That song is so brilliant, man. Anyway.
Yep.
They basically just lied their ass off about me and claimed that I was saying things that I didn't say to try to make me look bad. And so I went on the show 3-on-1 to debate them because I wasn't scared.
Okay, let me say, can I say something to you, Dusty, here right at the beginning of this? Never once did we you guys want to fucking gang fuck against 3v1? Nevertheless, did we present it as such? You were just a guest on the show, and we had a disagreement about something.
Yeah.
Like, where's this 3v1 narrative come from? You knew what you were walking into. You've seen the show. You've been on it before by this point. I know you have.
Numerous times.
So, like, what are you talking about? Like, we never once in the history of fucking all the time I was on the Drunken Peasants did we ever gang fuck a guest or look to. So, this whole narrative is just self-aggrandizing bullshit that further proves that you're just a fucking confidence artist that'll say and be whatever you want in whatever situation and paint every interaction exactly how you want it to be. You think we misconstrued the t-shirt argument, Dusty? Honestly. You think we misconstrued that?
So now that we have the power of hindsight, where we had 2 years into the Donald Trump presidency, let's look back at this 3-on-1 debate I had with the Drunken Peasants, and let's just watch a little bit of this, and I don't know, maybe I get owned in this debate. Let's have a look.
We're the ones talking shit? We're the ones that have been talking shit
You guys
for
have
months?
done way more videos about me than I have you. Definitely. I've done one video about you.
We make way more videos than you do. But your last 3 videos have all been hammering away at the same subject matter.
None of my videos were about you except for the one that I mentioned you guys in. The rest of the videos weren't about you because I don't watch this show. I don't know what you guys talk about.
I miss my glasses.
Wasn't about you at all.
Why don't you just get some fucking frames then?
I don't know. Okay.
You were a fan. You were a fan of the show when we met in Louisiana.
start when you start a, did you see him shake his head down there?
Yeah, you see that shit? And that's,
no, I wasn't. No.
Yeah. Isn't that? Oh, you weren't then, Dusty? Then you're a disingenuous shitbag who chatted us up for a long ass fucking time about, oh, I really like you and TJ's dynamic. You don't remember saying that to me? You weren't a fan of the show, but you knew anything about me and TJ's dynamic?
When you start a discussion with,
literally was not a fan of the show.
Hold on, he's about to.
The show. I'd like to do something like that myself one of these days. What do you think I ought to do? Well, I invented the fucking T-shirt. It's pretty good that y'all are making a lot of money on that right now. When I came up with that idea, I never knew how much money could be made on. What? And none of that happened, Dusty?
No, none of it. Not a line of it.
I met them in New Orleans and they were talking together, and I said, hey, you guys have really good chemistry. And so he thought because I said they had good chemistry in real life, I was saying I was a fan of the show. So
No. That's not what you said to me. You didn't say, oh, I like the way you and TJ play off each other in real life. No, you came up and had an explicit conversation about our show with me, Dusty. Oh, I really like watching the way you and TJ and the whole cast plays off each other. Y'all have a really great chemistry, and the show's really doing well. I really do like the way you do this, and the manatee stuff is funny, and blah, 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 blah. You had a whole fucking thing with me, you lying sack of fuck. Why the fuck? Hold up. Let me ask you a question, Dusty. If you knew nothing about our show, why the fuck did you advertise it as a drunken peasant / Dusty Smith meetup? You just append your name to any old nothing show that you know nothing about and aren't a fan of, and all the time thought everybody on it was a piece of shit?
All along.
Like what? Or is my narrative make sense? You presented yourself at the very least as a fan of the show in order to ingratiate yourself enough to get on the show, benefit from being on the show.
Okay, but not only that, but the show he's doing now and the show he was doing before with Vadim and whoever the fuck, Tim something.
That was a show.
The one episode show. But it was a fucking. It was both.
It was never a show.
Both DP clones, though.
Did you watch what they put out of that show?
No.
You crow about that show? The only thing about that show that added anything unique or interesting was Vadim's weird little editing techniques. And even they fell flat in the face of you trying desperately to be the drunken peasants. So eat a fat bag of dicks, Mister. I didn't even know these guys. I just agreed to have all my fans mixed with their fans for no reason other than to fly across the fucking country to New Orleans, you piece of lying shit. Bend the knee and kiss the ring, motherfucker. That show made your ass. Pulled you up out of the toilet of obscurity. Give some respect.
Sorry.
Hey, TJ,
yes, what's up?
Question?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
How many Dusty Smith fans showed up to the DFF, or to the DP meetup in New Orleans?
As far as I could tell, none.
0. There was a goose egg.
In fact,
a single
person. Actually, at least 2 people wrote us and said they were not going to come because Dusty Smith was there. So he actually I think there was actually a net negative of. I think we actually lost people because Dusty's presence.
So you didn't meet any fans there, and you certainly weren't there to butter us up and kiss our asses. So why the fuck was Dusty Smith in New Orleans that day, Dusty? Can you provide an accounting of your time in New Orleans and how you ended up at a drunken peasants meetup sucking my balls about my chemistry with TJ on the show and then denying it there? You little pussy bitch! Fuck you! Talk your shit on your little soy milk sipping fucking podcast, piece of fucking derivative shit. Look at the fucking infinite mirror syndrome we have going on. Your show, fucking DP clone, layered on DP, with you on DP, claiming you know nothing about DP. What the fuck, Dusty?
I mean, he was a guest on the show several fucking times.
Yeah, he just wandered on.
He was just...
a Skype number at random, and I ended up on this weird show.
I never know. I don't even know. What's this show? I ain't never seen it.
Paul, but you just don't have a very good memory about things.
You need alt-riders going after SJW's hardcore, like TJ, for instance. TJ, like first name out of your mouth. And then you make 2 more videos on the same subject, and I'm supposed to assume that it's not about me anymore. It just started that way.
Are we on the show live yet?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yes, I'm very happy to talk about...
Oh, I remember that, by the way. I remember that moment on the show because it was a stupid fucking question because he'd already been told we were going to go going live.
Oh yeah, we never.
So he basically said that to make it seem like he was being ambushed.
I mean, this is not revealing any fucking personal thing. If you were ever a guest on the show and we're starting with us, Ben would tell you like 15 minutes out, hey, we're going to go live in about 15 minutes. I just want to let you know, make sure you're ready. And if you responded positively in about 15 minutes, he would say, hey, we're going to go live. Are you cool? And if you said okay, we'd go live. There was never a like, hey, surprise, you're live. We were smart enough to avoid that stupid shit. So Dusty already feeling on the back foot here, claiming he doesn't know we're live, and clearly he does.
Yeah, absolutely. I even remember in that moment thinking about it.
Fucking ham-fisted attempts to fucking...
Yeah, it was like, it was not part of the procedure of the Drunken Peasants to bring anyone on who didn't know they were going live.
Glad you brought this up. Yes, I did say that you were sharing alt-right talking points, I guess is the way I put it. Because I honestly did feel like you were sharing alt-right talking points. And I'll tell you why, if you'll give me a second to explain it to you. As you guys may know, I was kind of in the alt-right for a little bit myself after the whole Bernie fiasco with Hillary.
All right, so let's make it clear. You were never in the fucking alt-right. You don't even know what that fucking means.
I was in the alt-right.
I was in the alt-right, y'all.
Alt-right.
No, you supported Trump for a brief time.
Yeah, you
supporting Trump doesn't make you part of the alt-right.
You liked some Pepe memes.
Yeah, you're never alt-right. You don't get to push this narrative of like I was alt-right, but then I saw the light.
If you were, doesn't that just like lend credibility to our narrative that you're constantly switching sides as soon as a new one presents itself? Atheism to alt-rightism to hard SJWism to feminism to wherever you're at now. I mean, where is it in?
Really fucking pissed off at Hillary. And so
Right.
I'm a Reddit nerd. And so the Donald is the big Reddit forum where all the alt-righters hang out. As far as I can tell, that's the place.
No, well, maybe there might be some alt-right people there, but that's not an alt-right place.
Donald.
That's just he's the president of the United States. That's a mainstream right-wing place.
The Donald, and you think that made you all right? Like what? When you went to the Donald, did it just like slowly but surely convert you to alt-right? Like, I don't understand the story here. Like, why are you just dropping all these names and shit?
Place where the most alt-righters hang out. And I was in there every day, and I was talking to those guys, and I was really studying their community, and I was on Twitter sharing all their shit, spreading the shit too. And one thing they said, well, wasn't all that common, but occasionally in the comment section, one of the talking points they were trying to spread was that we need to vote for Donald Trump because he's going to push the Republican Party to the left. And so you probably see where I'm going with this. I watched a video you made, Vote Trump 2016, where you told your 1 million followers that you suggest they vote for Donald Trump because he was going to push the Republican Party to the left.
Right.
And I honestly thought you were dog whistling alt-right talking points. However, the very next day after I made that video, I made another video because I thought about it. I took all the criticism in, I internalized it, and I was like, this is not cool. It's not cool of me to tell people what videos they can make. It's not cool of me to do that to TJ. And so I made another video explaining that wasn't my intention. It's not my intention.
TJ probably watched neither of them, by the way.
Probably not. Or I might have watched the first 2 minutes or something. I don't remember.
To point fingers, and instead I would like to focus on what I've done wrong, because I'm as responsible for anybody. And I said in that video the very next day that I obviously did not think you were alt-right. I thought you were sharing talking points of the alt-right, but wasn't my place to call you out for that. And then I actually went in public on Twitter and apologized to you for it, which you accepted and told me was gracious that I apologized to you for. So I assumed that you knew that I wasn't talking about you.
But then you kept hammering away at the same subject matter. And not only that, what does it matter? What does it matter if a talking point comes from the alt-right or not? Doesn't it only matter whether it's valid or not?
Well, it's not valid. The talking point you use is currently stupid. I mean,
Why
obviously
is it stupid?
Donald Trump is not.
No, well, I mean, like, look, if you look at the fucking positions, you want to tell me that the first Republican. So this is where Dusty is going to start to feel real vindicated.
Of course. Because of course it was gonna go one way or another.
Right.
Nobody knew what Trump was. For Dusty to claim that he had some kind of prescience in this, and that he knew for an absolute fact that Donald Trump was going to end up this way or that way, is just stupidity. Everybody was saying that at this point. Of course, somebody's going to be right. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like, amongst all the fucking predictions about Donald Trump and what his presidency is going to entail, like, the entire fucking thing that, like, we were part of, or at least I was part of, I can't speak for everybody, but my thing when he got elected is give Trump a chance. Give him a chance. New president, let's see what he actually does with power.
Like, isn't that what you're
obviously
doing with any president?
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like...
Isn't that the good faith thing to do?
Right. I feel like if you're on the right and Obama gets elected or Bernie Sanders gets elected or whoever gets elected, you want the people on the right to be like, okay, let's see what this person actually does before we freak out.
Give him a year or two to, like, enact some of his agenda.
Let's see what this person actually does with fucking power before we jump to conclusions about what they are. So I was basically waiting for fucking evidence.
So because you played the prognosticator, the old fucking witch doctor that throws the bones and made a hard fucking call on this, and ended up being kind of right.
Dude, I knew, but look,
that's better than giving him a chance.
I knew when this,
just calling it as you see it.
I knew when this video came out, and I said so as many times at the time that I think it probably is a safe guess to say that Trump's going to be a piece of shit. But don't act like you know that before it's fucking happened. Now, obviously, we can look back in hindsight and say, yeah, Trump did turn out to be a piece of shit. And if what Dusty wants to hear is like, you were right about that, then fine. But you were right about it not because you actually knew anything. You just happened to have the right guess. And was it an educated guess based on the history of the Republican Party? Sure. But I don't feel like you should jump to conclusions based on what's happened in the past, because you wouldn't want that done to you.
No.
You wouldn't want to say, hey, you know, this candidate I support just got elected president, but everyone's just going to judge them based on all their predecessors. You don't know. You don't know what, you didn't know at that time what Trump was going to fucking do with power.
Right.
You had a pretty good idea, and so did I. But how do you know that? You know, you didn't, no one knew with any sort of conclusiveness at that time if he was going to be, you know, he held up the fucking LGBT flag. Obviously, it turned out to be nothing more than an empty symbolic gesture, and he was just as bad to LGBT people as any other fucking Republican administration had been.
Right.
But
what about my position on this, which is I didn't care.
Right.
I just didn't fucking care. I don't care about the political circus anymore. So Donald Trump is the same as Hillary Clinton.
And absolutely, and I mean, like, you know, you want to, I hate to get back in the specter of the 2016 election again, but like, every criticism I made of Hillary to this day stands.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't it?
I mean, the fact that Donald Trump turned out to be a piece of shit doesn't mean I've all of a sudden come around to thinking Hillary is anything fucking to write home about.
No.
So, I mean,
still a terrible fucking candidate. Still a horrible, regressive, corporatist answer if you call yourself anything like a leftist. I mean, you're such a fucking language cop. And she was not the candidate of that. She was the candidate of the business class. And you know that, Dusty, if you have a brain in your fucking head. Which I assume because you're able to worm yourself into headlining a meetup for a fucking podcast you've never watched and know nothing about, that you've been on multiple times and provided no fans to attend. But, you know, maybe you're not. Maybe you are as brainless as you present yourself.
But yeah, I mean, like, look, in terms, I hate this idea that, you know, everyone's got to make these big predictions in politics. I see people all over the spectrum trying, you know, making these stabs at predicting the future.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, I indulge in it just like everybody. I mean, everybody does some speculation. But the idea that, you know, you should be, the opinion of you know, your validity should be based on, and I didn't even make a speculation about Trump. I just said wait and see on Trump.
Right.
But the idea that, like, oh, you know, like Rick Wiles, we just watched a video by him where he's constantly throwing out these predictions of the Jew uprising is going to happen. It's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen in a year. And he's been making that same kind of prediction since the fucking early days of the Obama administration, if not earlier. And he's still out there making these predictions. And, you know, Glenn Beck, prediction. Dusty Smith, prediction. You made a prediction that a Republican president was going to act like a Republican president. It's not an impressive feat. You don't get to lord it over me that I wanted to remain skeptical and wanted to say, let's not judge until we have something to judge it by. And you know what? Now we do have something to judge it by, and we see.
The old cult of Dusty would have never found himself on this side of this argument. He would have never been like waggling his finger at somebody for refusing to make a hard fucking call on something they had no fucking foreknowledge of and no way of knowing what was actually going to happen. He would have sided with the skeptic. Wasn't that part of what you were? You were part of the skeptic community? Logic, bitch, or whatever your dumbass little tagline, logic, motherfucker. How logical is it to just prognosticate and then wag your finger when you guess right in the coin flip?
On an easy one, too.
Right.
I mean, look.
Rather than just remaining skeptical, being open-minded, and allowing the dude some time to govern before you call him what he is.
But you know what? My position was, let's give him a chance. He's been given the chance. He's failed.
At that point,
your position was, your position is, he's a piece of shit, and you were right. So now we're at the same place where we both say he's a piece of shit. You know, and I didn't vote for him. I never advocated voting for him, even though you lied and told people I did. I made two hypothetical cases for why someone would potentially vote for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. I made two separate videos where I laid out hypothetical arguments, it was basically an intellectual exercise where I made the best possible arguments I could make within the framework of my logic to support these fucking candidates.
A thought experiment.
Right. And my argument for Hillary Clinton was basically, hey, she'll keep the status quo. It's not going to be dramatically more horrible than it is now, but it's probably not going to be dramatically better.
Wait a minute. Are you implying that Dusty is being
and my pro-Trump
deceitful?
Yeah, and my pro-Trump argument was, if you're dissatisfied with the system, this is a guy who's going to probably disrupt it in some way, which I think he probably has done that.
If you weren't a fan of the show at the time where you were chilling in my Airbnb, can I just say I'm totally fucking creeped out by your presence there now? Because I don't like it beyond I don't know you if that's the case. And you were chilling in my fucking personal residence where my girlfriend slept and my friend's girlfriend slept and all my fucking shit that I travel with was, where I talked about business and shit. How the fuck were you sitting in my fucking Airbnb talking business with me if you didn't know anything about the show I was on? How did you know how to fucking talk to me at all as a person? How did you know I had a good dynamic with TJ? If that's the case, I just met you that day when you walked into the Airbnb, didn't I?
Well, remember, he'd been on the show, so he knew from being on the show. He knew from being on the show. His experience of the show was limited to him on it, I guess.
On the show.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's how it went.
All right.
But anyway, he goes on to basically just do what I said. I mean, like, it's basically, I said Trump was going to suck, and he did. You said to wait and see, and look where wait and seeing got us. Well, it didn't get us anyway. He was going to get elected whether I took a wait and see approach or not. I had no deciding factor one way or the other that. Now, I could have, I guess the argument, the only way I understand your argument is if your position is that I should have used my microphone to shill for Hillary, basically. That I should have been like, we all need to support Hillary, you guys, and tried to make the case for Hillary Clinton.
Fuck you, man.
Which, if that's the case, blow me, basically, because I'm not going to do that.
I'm a fucking grown adult. I don't care that you voted for Hillary. You know what? Your fucking vote for Hillary is about as useful as the fucking toilet paper I wadded up this morning and wiped the morning shit off of my rim with. I flushed that, and I flush your vote for Hillary. What was it? What did it amount to, motherfucker? How many people did you convince? Not enough. Not enough. Guess your side lost this one, and you want to blame people like me for, like, staying completely out of it to the best of my ability and making fun of both sides? Or people like TJ who wanted to remain skeptical and engage to the best of their ability and make rational arguments for both sides and try and come to a consensus? That's your problem? You don't think the problem is that the fucking Democratic Party is about to re-elect this motherfucker with their giant, weak fucking roster of counter candidates? They're about to put his ass right back in there for 4 years because they produced nada. It's a sea of losers. Don't you think you ought to be more focused on that? No, you're thumping your chest about the olden golden days that you don't seem to remember as well as I do. Fuck you.
And that's that. That's pretty much everything I got for this edition of Abandoned Hope. And, yeah. Let me see. Do I have anything else? What is this?
What do you got? More spice.
That's just a skull. Nope. I guess we went through everything.
Death. Death, holy death, is at the end of abandoned hope, for only the skull knows what it's like to truly abandon hope.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
That's true.
Oh, God. Oh.
We're the deplorable choir.
I think we need an encore presentation.
We don't care if you're white. We don't care if you're black.
Oh.
We don't care if you're gay.
We're all under attack.
We don't care if you're rich. We don't care if you're poor.
Maybe people who are poor care if they're poor. You ever think of that?
Yeah.
You ever think maybe they care that they're poor and that someone else is rich? Maybe someone who doesn't deserve to be? I don't know.
Isn't it sad to have the first part of your song be like, we don't care if you're poor, and then the last part of your song be like, we're living the dream? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
fuck you.
Also, I mean, like, you know, is that really what a poor person wants to hear? Like, we don't care that you're poor?
Is this the beginning again? Did we go through a time loop?
Yeah, we're back.
Doing it again?
We're back.
Oh, no!
It's
I had a dream about this, TJ.
Take two.
Deja vu.
Take two. Take two, Paul. You ready to go through it again?
No, never.
You ready to go through it all again?
No, I'm ready.
We might have different commentary this time. You never know.
Oh, no.
All right, that's enough. You've suffered enough today, Paul.
Thank you.
I made you watch Dusty. I made you watch the Deplorable Choir. Let me ask you this. What was the most painful segment? You think it was the Deplorable Choir, or was it the Cracked List? Was it the guy saying to cancel Tarantino? Was it watching John Delaney talk?
That was it. It was John Delaney. I really hate Dusty Smith, and I really hate the Deplorable Choir, and I really hated a lot of the things that we covered today. That whole trans list was horrible. It was a horrible slog. But let me tell you, TJ, for my money, the worst time I had today was John Delaney. By far, the segment on John Delaney was the hardest one for me to keep together through. His mere presence is enough to reduce me to jelly.
Poor John.
In a bad way.
Anyway, so that concludes our show for today. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.
Peace.
Bye-bye.